Hello and welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name's David Turner and I'm here with Matt Murray.
Hello.
I'm also here with James Farley.
Hello.
No Sean though, again this week. His child seems to be playing up. So, to be fair, we all know exactly what that's like. And I don't blame him, to be honest with you. Podcast has little meaning when that shit's going down. When it gets bad, it gets bad. We send our love, Sean. How are you, James? All right?
Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah, you ready to get back into the swing of things?
Kind of. Yeah, I mean...
But you've missed this, haven't you?
Yeah.
No?
no. I don't know. It's been all right. Just, I've listened... So the thing is, I listened to the two shows that you did. And
so you got your notes in front of you, have you?
Well, I've got a couple of things. But, to be honest, last week's show was genius, and I really enjoyed it. And I thought
we'll come to that.
I enjoyed that,
come to that
a great deal. Particularly the elongated, awkward silences was my favourite bit. Loved that. It was very awkward, and I just loved that sort of thing. The week before that, though, it was all right. Nothing special. It was fine.
What's wrong with that?
Well, do you want me to give you my overall of what I thought of the whole thing? Because the thing is the main thing was obviously the news hasn't been great over the last 2 weeks, because, I've not been able to do it. But to be fair, there hasn't been, it's been a bit thin on the ground, hasn't it? There's not been that much around. And I thought that Sean made a reasonable go of it, but your attempt was embarrassing. You didn't even bother. You just didn't seem to care. I don't give
a fuck. It's not my job.
I know,
it's not my job.
Yeah, but that's not fair, because when there's lots of things that are not my job, but I still have to do it. And then if I don't do it properly, you go mental.
Well, try the editing, see how you get on with that.
Well, no, okay.
I bet it'd be fucking shit.
I wonder who, because Sean's not here today, I wonder who's going to have to do emails and tweets. It's obviously it's going to be me, and then you're just going to moan at me about it. And it's do
you want to edit next week, James? Because it took me ages last week.
David, it's fine. It's obviously fine. I think you did a good job with the edit. If you're going to invite Capone on, you know that you're going to get something. Something like that's going to happen probably. It's kind of inevitable. So you did bring it on yourself a little bit.
I must admit, I was surprised because I have podcasted with him a lot, and I suppose the difference is that he usually edits when he podcasts with us, and last week he decided that there was this weird rule where he wouldn't edit any show that he's on.
I also definitely mentioned the headphones last week, because I know you've done this a million times, Adam. Turn the headphones down.
He sent a screenshot of his audio file, and I was like, whoa, there's a bit of background noise in there. Can you just turn your mic down a little bit? Nothing. It just come back through, just fucking ignored that advice.
But either way, it was good. Yeah, I enjoyed the Capone one. The only other thing I got, which is a bit annoying, is the Streets of Rage 2 stuff. You were talking about that, and that it didn't really annoy me, because obviously the game is of its day, and like Matt's saying, it was fine and all that. But because the thing is, you're not playing it in the right environment, and it's like that you had no appreciation at all of the music that was going on, which is one of the best soundtracks in any game ever. There's nothing to that. You didn't even notice any of that. Oh. All right, well,
James, did you list out all of the 70s and 80s? What was it? 80s action films.
It's fine because it's like everything else. There's loads of things like this which are they're really of their day, and if you were there at the time and it's like, yeah, this is still good, but it still plays really well. I still would stand by the fact that it still plays, it's a very solid game to play still. in the same way that Street Fighter 2 is, you still play that. You can still play this as well, better than a lot of newer releases as well. But it is a shame that we couldn't finish it, because we were very close to the end with that. And
that's gutting. I would like to try it again, just because I don't want to get that close to the end.
Would you really, or are you being nice?
No, only because I don't. We're literally a stage from the end, so I want to get it finished.
Yeah, but also, one of the other weird things you said,
James, what was that noise for? Yeah,
well, because one of the other things that was
you don't
weird
believe him, do you?
No, well, I don't believe him, no. But there was also that other thing where you were saying how I'd hinted that it was bugs in the original game that were causing this. I never hinted anything of the sort. Of course, I didn't imply that. It's nothing to do with that. It's just rubbish netcode, from whoever's done the emulation or whatever.
It just seemed like a really weird bug. But
yeah.
Anyway,
but apart from that, I can't really remember anything else that was really glaring that really annoyed me. Actually, they were generally pretty solid episodes, and the second one made me laugh a lot. It was good. Yeah.
Thanks. My favourite thing. I mean, let me just say this right now. Right, every time I've met Capone Adam, he's been like that. Right, and he's one of the funniest people I know. Like, genuinely. I mean, I'm pretty sure he plays up to it a bit, right? But honestly, I listened back to the show about 4 times last week because I just love his reactions to everything. There's one thing that I like more than him on the show. It's the feedback we get about him. And this has been, we've had, what is it, Matt? Like 9 years of Capone Adam on podcasts that we've been doing? Like from Joy Pod through
easily.
to...
I mean, it must be over that. I mean, because... me and him was like 7 years ago, I think.
Oh God, yeah. So right, way before that then. And it's always been the same. It's always been the same. It's been an almost 50-50 split of people saying, I hate him, get him off the show, don't let him on the show ever again, to people saying that is the funniest episode I've ever listened to, right? It's always been the same. And, it's not on you if you don't like him. It's not you don't get the joke, mate. If you don't like him, you don't like him, whatever. And then he's not going to be on all the time, but we've got to have him on again because it was so fun to record last week.
Yeah, it was great.
Well, by the time we finished, I had a ache in my stomach like the old days, Matt, like the old blog TV days.
Yeah.
It was brilliant. But do you want to go through the feedback? Should we hear what the listeners thought?
We've got a lot, but it is worth going through. Christopher Cleveland, we'll start with his email. Hi there, guys. You really should have put a warning. I'll start again. You should really have put a warning on last week's show to protect your listeners. While driving home from work every Wednesday, I spend that time listening to the computer game show. But halfway through last week's episode, I had to stop driving because I needed both hands to wipe away my tears of laughter. Adam Capone is an incredible guest, and hearing both Dave and Matt trying to get him more engaged or explain his points more clearly was like getting blood from a stone. The awkwardness, the silence, the gems of quotes from Adam was incredible. The subtle giggles turning into big belly laughs thanks to David and Matt grilling the poor deadpan guest. But at about an hour in, the thing that broke me was Matt asking Adam about Fortnite, followed by a sentence being uttered in a monotonous tone. I'm not being racist. A ridiculous sentence.
I could feel the tension when he actually said it because I was like, okay, all right, let's...
I do get genuinely scared when he says that sort of stuff.
But he's never been he's never been like insanely offensive out of nowhere. But there's that risk, isn't there? Because you just never know what's going on in his head.
Yeah. Chris continues. A ridiculous sentence and often followed by incredible and awful revelations about that person. However, had Adam's tone been more energetic and offered gems of knowledge throughout the pod, this would have led me to jump straight into horrific thoughts about what he plans to say next. Instead, I merely could not stop laughing at the complete nonsense that would have spouted next from Adam. I had to stop driving. I could not see through tears of laughter and pulled up at McDonald's. I turned off at the podcast and began to wipe away the tears while laughing a few minutes. Suddenly, a knock on the window. I rolled down the window, not thinking of the state I was in, as I had some red eyes and tears probably still going down my cheeks. She asked, "You all right, darling?" To which my only response was, "Yeah, I'm listening to a podcast." She looked at me odd, said, "Okay, as long as nothing's wrong," and then walked away. While I appreciate the sincerity of this person trying to see if I'm alright, I also feel like a complete twat, so thanks for that, guys. I still have another hour and 40 minutes of driving, and so for my own safety, please warn listeners in future.
I mean, that might be the best email ever.
Yeah, Steve Garrett follows on. So I'm on a holiday in Mexico at the moment, and I've got the shits. Thanks, Steve. It's silly o'clock in the morning over here because I'm running to the toilet constantly. I download the latest show, and I'm listening to it in bed with my wife asleep next to me. I'm trying so hard to stifle component-induced laughs in fear of waking the missus up. Strain becomes too much, and I suffer what can only be described as seepage. Thank you, TCGS, you remember some new underwear. I mean, we got so much feedback. I'll do some quick fire stuff just to show you the style of feedback we've got.
Yeah, a broad range of them.
Sergeant Stangrove, my word, that should have been a 2-man show. Painful isn't the word. However, Capone just redeemed himself by mentioning Mr. Wacker from School Days. David Forrest. Oh, yeah. So, and then David Rush. The performance piece by Capone Adam elevates the computer game show to a level of contemporary art performance. If it is nominated for a Turner Prize, it should at least have its own listening room in the Tate Modern. David Forrest. This week's show is actually painful to listen to. Don't know if I can tolerate listening to the end. James Middleton. Genuinely don't think I've laughed that hard at radio or podcasting since the Gervais XFM days. Fantastic stuff. I mean, and for me and you, Dave, and probably you, James, I know we've all listened to the XFM Gervais stuff about a million times. So I love that compliment. Adam Ash, who's Adam Capone? I feel like I'm missing the joke. Was he half asleep when he had him on the show? Does he actually like video games? It's painful listening. Jimmy Coyne, one of the funniest episodes ever. Literally crying with laughter. Ponygran, 1 hour into the latest podcast. What the fuck is going on? I could barely listen to it at all. Maybe going with Dave and Matt would have been a better option after all. Alex 79 UK, people are laughing at work because I'm mental as I'm in my car grinning. On my way to work, people are generally laughing at me as I'm mental in my car grinning like an idiot.
You get the
but basically it was half an hour. Often people saying it's painful, never get him on again. Other people saying he should replace, one of the regular hosts. Yeah.
So what do we do? This is it, isn't it? It's like, this is why I always say, just don't listen to them. Like, we're either upsetting one half of our audience or the other. If we say Capone's never coming on again, half the audience will get pissed off. If we say Capone's coming on again, the other half will get pissed off. We're in a bit of a situation here.
No, there's no situation. He'll be on as much as we like him on because he's brilliant. So
he'll be replacing me in the new year.
Yeah. It's not everyone. Yeah, Capone's the new host, and is exclusive. Yeah, it's not for everyone, but my God, he's for us, and I love him.
Do we have any other feedback? Do we have any feedback to
80%
the fact
of
that
it was
we were
that, but we
leaving
did have
Spawn?
DeGoose and a few of us actually in the Discord were quite shocked that I hadn't really known Nathan Fillion's back catalogue. Nathan Fillion, of course, we talked about him last week because he'd done that fan-made Uncharted movie, and of course Nathan Fillion's been in things like Firefly, Serenity. I knew it was in Firefly. I forgot about Serenity because I hadn't watched either of them. He's also the voice in Halo and Cade 6 and Destiny, and in Castle. I mean, I know of him, but I've actually never watched any of his stuff.
I've never understood that criticism. I've got that a lot from you two, actually, more than anything else, where you go, you've not heard of that. You've not played that. You've not seen that. And I'm like, no, what do you want? I haven't.
Well, the thing
I can't do anything about that.
I wouldn't expect you to know any of those because I know you're not really into sci-fi at all. But I was a bit surprised that Matt had not seen Firefly, to be honest.
I've heard of it. I just never really bothered. Yeah, I knew everyone loved it and et cetera, but I just never tried it. Roblox, David mentioned it last week, so he's been playing it or is...
we got a few messages about this.
Yeah, SMW OSGView on Twitter. I love the fact David Turner's is working all day in games just to give the money to kids to help them spending real money. Although this game sounds a bit dodgy. Birdwang, Slippery Slope giving away all your cash to kids
censored
on
that,
Roblox,
Matt.
Dave.
Yeah.
Huh?
You censored that.
Yeah, I did, yeah. Bortang, Slippery Slope giving away all your kids... or your cash to kids on Roblox, Dave. They also copy all the favourite shooters in the block style like PUBG, COD, Battlefield, GTA, and I reckon the targeted age is a lot less than 13.
Yeah, there was a few news stories. No, I haven't played it actually since last week. I just haven't played it. Have you? You said you were downloading it.
I did download it, I just hadn't started it.
Right. Yeah, no, there was a few dodgy news stories as well about all this horrific stuff that goes on in it, and I was, pretty much right that dickheads are getting in there and trying to wind kids up, and it's like, I mean, that's obvious. What I couldn't let kids play that. It's madness.
Are you still playing it though?
No, I said no. No, I haven't played it since last time. No, I sort of, it was fun for that one time where I was going around handing cash out to everyone, and then I realised it was a bit weird and didn't want to be part of it anymore. So yeah, I logged out and never logged back in. But no, yeah, odd game.
Yeah, maybe I'll try it one day, but who knows. MJL at Vault42 Overseer on Twitter. Capone Adam made a great point last week about mentioning the name of games after discussing them, especially obscure ones. Sometimes I like the sound of a game you're describing, but I didn't hear what it's called. Great show as usual. Now, we get this a lot, and I've heard this criticism a lot on ours, and if I listen to podcasts, I just rewind a bit until they mention the game. It's sometimes annoying, but that's what I do.
It's weird, isn't it? Yeah, I get that. I get that as well, where I'm listening to a podcast, I'm like, what game are they talking about? So the good thing about podcasting is I rewind it. Now, maybe, I know that's a criticism on us and we're sort of deflecting back to the audience there, and maybe we shouldn't be doing that. But I can't, when you're in the flow of conversation like we are, especially during the what you've been playing segment, we can't just go, like finish a big rant about a game and then go, that game again was, it don't really work like that. Otherwise, it's going to
try because I know.
Really,
I'll certainly try. Yeah.
Oh, come on, Matt.
I said try.
Every time you do that, Matt, I'm going to highlight the fact that you've done that as well, because it's
every time he does it, James, let's just repeat the name of the game back at him 3 or 4 times.
That's great. I mean, the listeners will love it, so win-win.
This is the problem. You put too much on the listeners. You worry about them too much.
Can I just ask a question? Right?
Yes.
I don't have anything to do with the show notes. That's presumably Matt does that. I assume. Doesn't he just put in there what we've been talking about?
What's that?
What do you mean?
Well, doesn't he just put in? Does he put in like in the show notes, like like in the podcast notes, like what we've talked about?
What?
Right. Okay. What? Oh, you're talking about on the actual podcast.
Okay, right.
No, I do that.
No.
Okay.
No, so I don't do links to everything. God, I mean, that was a nightmare for interface. I'm certainly not going to do it on this.
No, but just like put a list of like we talked about these games or whatever. You don't do that.
Have you ever read the show notes on a podcast?
No,
we don't do that.
Of course I haven't.
Well, now you know the reason why I don't put them on there, James. No one fucking
but
reads
it might
them.
be useful for other people if they want to know what we've talked about. Just click on it and have a look.
I'll tell you that now. I'm not doing that. Not doing
Seems pretty hostile to listeners, to be honest, because that would be an easy way to deal with it.
Oh no! I'll tell you what, listeners, go fuck yourselves. Right?
I mean,
if you want to know what we're talking about, listen to the podcast properly. Right? I don't want any slack listeners listening to this and just be like, "Oh, I drift in and out." No, you don't drift in and out on this. You might miss some quality. All right? I'm not having you lazily listening to this podcast. You listen with intent. All right? Okay? You put the effort in that we put into the podcast. All right? What? What was that laugh for?
Well, the fact that you won't even bother to put those things in the notes is like the amount
4
of
hours
effort.
editing last week, James. Don't test me. Right, okay,
Although
go
I
on.
will
Is
say
that
that
it?
now we're independent, another thing that we mentioned last week, that we announced last week, we're like posting this ourselves, so I could probably put the games in the show notes.
There you go.
Just
knock
do
yourself out.
We've got it already in the doc that we use.
Do it.
It's not difficult.
Well, you
Knock
do it then.
yourself out. Right, go on.
Right, there was also a discussion on Labo, because last week Adam couldn't understand why Labo didn't work with Mario Kart on the Wii U.
I can't believe James.
See, I wasn't sure at this point if he was just trolling or not. I mean, he must have been.
James.
He must have been trolling.
You've known Capone Adam for years, and you've listened to hours of his recordings, right? And then you're answering his questions.
I know, I got sucked in. I couldn't stop myself.
Yeah. I mean, this is a beautiful little exchange on Twitter. So, Capone Adam, the bit on Computer Game Pod, when I'm trying to explain a Labo game that could work with the Wii U, I genuinely don't understand why anyone would think that's not physically possible. Up pops James Farley. Well, they could, but the Wii U pad doesn't have the IR stuff. They'd have to make an entirely different Labo kit for it. And why bother when they only bought a Wii U? And then Capone's like, well, so it is possible. And Fire's like, well, they could. Oh, no, you mentioned that. Well, aside from the IR depth tracking stuff that the Joy-Cons do, which is absent from the Wii U, without that, quite a few of the projects wouldn't work. And basically, thanks, James, for explaining to
I don't
Adam,
know why I did that.
Definitely knew
no idea
what was happening, but you still fell for it.
You could just do the cardboard as a wheel, I think, was what he said there.
Yeah, we had that amazing tweet. And
I had thought about it, though. Like, could you? Like, if I proper sat down and thought about it.
No.
I mean, what?
You couldn't. Like, not with Mario Kart, you can't. Because the way it works, you'd have to have entirely different kit for it to work.
Yeah, no, I get that, right? I get that. What I'm saying is if there was an entirely different kit, if they changed that to work for a Wiimote, which has the IR blaster and does work with a Wii U, would that work?
I don't think so, because it's a different... Is it the same kind of IR blaster, or is it...
And also, the bike doesn't use the IR blaster, does it?
But more to the point, who cares? Like,
no, exactly. Who wants this? I mean, it's a moot point anyway. And the fact is that you can play motion controls on the Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U anyway, so you could literally just build a massive, as Capone said last week, you could do the cardboard as a wheel and just stick that in. But no one's going to do that, because why would they? What a waste of time. I mean, normal Labo's not selling too well, let alone Labo for the Wii U. Why would they fucking do it?
Although Jamie Doughty, Jamie_Doughty last week sent a picture of exactly that, and it looks beautiful, Jamie.
That's amazing.
Love that.
Next bit of feedback.
That's it. If you want to leave us some feedback, it's at ComputerGamePod on Twitter, or you can email thecomputergameshow@gmail.com.
Good. Oh, I suppose there's so much happened this week, right, James? Come on.
There has, actually. I mean, it's been... I wouldn't say it's been a bumper week for news, but there has been things happen. Particularly today. There was some really...
I was about to say, this morning you were saying it's been a really shit day for news, and then a couple of things happened, and now it's suddenly become a good week for news, is it?
Well, not a
maybe
good week,
Sean sent these
especially...
links.
It's not it's not a good week for Evo Studios, because, there's been, like, layoffs there. I mean, they're the ones that are developing on Rush, and it's basically, it seems that Codemasters is sort of gutted the studio.
Horrific. I mean, not that it's understandable, right? But when you read that game sold 1,000 copies in its launch week in the UK, you think, fucking hell.
Yeah, that's insane.
I thought it was doing poorly, but I didn't think it was doing that bad. That 1,000 copies, man. Fuck.
Well, I mean, the indication was when, like, because it got discounted, like, pretty quickly, and they were, like, knocking a tenner off, then another tenner, then another tenner. Yeah, but so do other games,
you know. It's not like, I mean, I think Titanfall dropped in price more, like, quicker than Onrush did. And I mean, maybe that's partly down to the fact that EA could cut their losses a little bit easier. But I think Titanfall 2 sold a lot more than that at launch, and that was considered a bit of a flop. So, yeah, I mean, right. So, personally, it's gutting because, I mean, I loved that game. I booted out this weekend and just played through some single-player missions, and I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Like, it all come flooding back to me again. And I've only been off it for like a week or two. And I just feel... I mean, a few people were messaging me today, right, and saying, I feel like I'm part of the problem because I was waiting for this to be £20 before I jumped at it, right? The thing is, you can't think like that. As a consumer, you just can't think like that. You're not part of a problem for not buying this game. You're not the reason why this game has sold so poorly. The problem lies with either the original concept not having a wide audience, you know, not appealing to enough people, or, no, I'm not saying that that's definitely what's happened, or the marketing was poor, the release time was poor, the price was wrong. There are so many different factors where this game, what's held back this game from being, because it certainly wasn't the press. The press were very, very positive about it.
Well, generally. I wouldn't say that I haven't read obviously all the reviews, but it wasn't like, this is like a 10 out of 10 kind of thing. It was a kind of like,
but they were still fucking positive.
Yeah, 7s and 8s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was getting 7s, 8s. Every podcast I heard was raving about it.
Yeah, like the Giant Bomb this week, even was still saying it's amazing. Like, people like it, but yeah.
But it just, maybe it didn't have that mass appeal that they thought it would have. But what I'm saying is that it's not down to the consumers not buying it. That's not the problem here. The problem here lies somewhere else. And to see people lose their jobs over it. I mean, someone on Rollmuck made a good point saying, surely you would want to take the talent that's there. I mean, it's clear that it's a good game, right? It's evident that it's a good game based on reviews and response, in terms of the people that have played it, went out and bought it and played it. Surely you want to take that talent, keep them there, and try and put them on a project that can have a larger appeal, a wider appeal. It didn't work out this time, but instead they got rid of them. But then at the same time, they're saying they're going to continue developing the game and updating it. So I don't know how true that is. Yeah. It just seems bizarre.
I mean, they said they're still going to be, like, the DLC they were planning is still coming and stuff like that. But, I mean, I think, the problem here lies with Codemasters, because there was there was virtually hardly any, like, advertising for it, was there? I mean, I don't remember seeing anything for it. There wasn't, it didn't really feel like they were trying to create a buzz around the thing, which was a massive shame because it was really good.
Well, that's it. People were saying that they didn't make it clear that this was not a racing game. It was actually something different. It's a team battling game in cars, right? But I don't think that's a problem. I think that the people didn't even hear about it, let alone that aspect of the game. The first time I heard about it was when we played at EGX. I'd never heard about it up until that point. And that's what hooked me in. That's what, sorry, not at EGX, at Res. And that's what hooked me in. That's what got me excited about it. And as Sean said, the only way he would have known about it is through us. Like, he'd not heard or seen it anywhere else.
Yeah, a few others have said that. Like, the only people that really raving about this game was us, and I guess our other podcasts obviously mentioned it, but we're still trying to champion the game. Yeah, I mean, there's been no... I mean, like you just said, I wouldn't mind if they advertised it at all, let alone like the fact they didn't advertise the differences between this and the racing game. If they'd advertised it as a racing game, there would have been something, but I saw nothing of any advertising for it, sadly.
See, and the reason for that, I mean, we don't really know why. I mean, in the Eurogamer article, I mean, they apparently people in the studio said that there was a kind of a lack of communication between the studio and Codemasters, but we don't know any of that, if it's true or anything like that, and if that had any impact on it. But I know it's just, I don't think it's terrible. I mean, also the statement that came out was really weird. Did you read this? Like the statement from Codemasters?
Didn't they say something like, this happens all the time?
Well, it's odd because when I read the story this morning, like when it first broke, like this one on Eurogamer, there was a quote which said, like, from Codemasters saying, "This is a normal course of business after a project wraps." And then I said to Sean, I was like, what, you just fire people like after you finish a project? That's like, sounds weird.
I mean, I don't know how common that is. That kind of makes sense.
But I've definitely heard of like teams moving on after a project ships, but obviously,
but not like just firing the head of the studio and everything. I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
That's the strange thing.
But then what's weird is I checked the story again this afternoon, and that quote has changed now. It's not there.
What does it say?
Well, it now says it is a normal course of business for games teams to evolve as projects launch and move into service, and as other new projects start. As such, it isn't appropriate to comment on day-to-day movement of staff changes. That's it's just a bit weird how that was changed.
Yeah, it's an awkward situation. All I will say is that they've made a fantastic game there, and if someone else picks them up, I hope they finally get the sort of recognition they deserve on their next project.
Yeah, but we said that when Codemasters picked them up for their evolution after Drive Club. Drive Club had its issues clearly, but it's clear team. They're passionate and they knew what they're doing.
Well, that's the problem though, isn't it, Matt? Because Drive Club launched with lots of features missing, with bugs, but as you say, a lot of problems. You can understand why people were angry about that, and it was sad when people lost their job, but so much went wrong and it might not have been their fault, and I don't know the ins and outs of it, but that was a troubled project. This one, it comes out and straight out of the box is fucking brilliant. Like, it's brilliant. I mean, the open beta I don't think did it many favours because I didn't think it was there. Like, and I had my concerns about it, but once the full game had come out, it worked so smoothly that it was just so good. And I've put 60 to 70 hours into the game, and I'm still booting it up every now and then to have a blast of it. So this feels a little bit different. It's kind of like, fucking hell, man! You got a gem here. How has this not been put in everyone's hands straight away? Like, why is this not massive? But I guess there's just not a market for this sort of game anymore. There can't be. I mean, otherwise, marketing can do a lot, but surely the word of mouth would have spread to more than 1,000 people in the UK. You know what I mean?
Do you reckon for this kind of game, if they started release, because this is not the AAA stuff, that kind of thing. Like, it's not coming from like God of War sort of style game kind of thing. Yeah. If they release this stuff at a cheaper price from the outset, do you reckon it would have more of a chance?
Well, of course it would. But do you know if that's going to work in terms of business?
I don't know. I mean, well, this clearly hasn't. So
no, it clearly hasn't. No, but if they'd have said, they've obviously got a target on what they want to hit in terms of sales, and they've got to put a price on that to make sure that they turn a profit. Like, that's just business. So it's easy to say make it cheaper, more people buy it. Yeah, but will that cover the costs ultimately? Like, we don't know how much it costs to develop, to make, to run. They've got to hit targets, otherwise it's a financial problem. And yes, then, you're right, it is a financial problem now because it hasn't sold anywhere near enough. But going into it, you've got to have a business model that works. And if you're selling it at a cut price from the base, that's such a risky fucking move. That, I mean, there's every chance that they could have released it at £24 rather than £50, and it would have sold just as much. Then they would have been even more fucked. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's a tricky one. It's a tricky one. Of course, if it was cheaper, I think it would have done better. But would it have done enough to recoup the money that they've cut out of the main price. I don't know.
See, and they did everything like right as well in terms of it being like, you know, consumer friendly and all that kind of stuff as well. There wasn't like, there was loot crates and stuff, but not like ones that are like, you know, paid for ones and all that kind of thing. It was so well designed with that, you know, like as being like a level playing field for people to like come in and play.
Exactly. And, you know, that's worrying as well, because it's kind of like, well, we could have made a little bit more money if we put paid for loot boxes in there and this, that and the other. And, you know, maybe that's going to turn Codemasters' heads next time they do it, put out a game like this. It's just not great. It's not great, and it's no one's fault. Like, you know, it's easy to turn around and say, "Oh, fucking, why didn't you buy it?" But it's not your fault, because if it didn't appeal to you, that means that the marketing was wrong. If it was too expensive for you, that means that the price was wrong. And if it just didn't appeal to you, it means that the mass market wasn't ready for a game like this, or was over playing a game like this, you know. Not that, you know, it was before its time, but maybe this sort of game really is dying out now, and it's a bit of a killer, because I love it. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's absolutely not on the consumer to keep studios alive. Like that, it's up to the studios to make products that consumers want to buy, and so it's a shame, really. But
yeah, it's sad. It's sad.
Okay, the next story is another one of those kind of nothing stories, to be honest, which I hesitated to put this in. Well, I mean, I hesitated to put it in because the news was so flat this week, apart from this one that came this morning. But I thought it'd be worth just having a quick look at it. So there's all new Xbox hardware to be shown at Gamescom. So this is Microsoft are going to show some new hardware.
Everyone obviously jumping to, oh my god! And it turns out, what is it? It's the new Elite pad.
That's the thing. Well, what's happened now is that Microsoft have said this only relates to new Xbox bundles and accessories. So probably this means it's going to be a new Elite controller. That's probably what it's.
I wish Sony did this. Sony don't do that, do they? They do a tease and it's like, oh my god, what was the one they fucking did? Brand new PlayStation hardware or something.
Oh, yeah.
With a drape over it. And everyone was like, what's it going to be? What's it going to be?
Oh, yeah.
It's a Gran Turismo PlayStation. Are you fucking kidding me?
No, the kings of that, though, are Nintendo with those 3DS ones. You know, it's like...
Yeah, but they didn't big them up beforehand, did they?
They did. There was the Galaxy one. Don't you remember the Galaxy 3DS that everyone was convinced would play Mario Galaxy and all that?
No.
Did they big it up? I remember them showing it.
There was like a reveal of like, you know, there was like a whole reveal and stuff.
Yeah, but no, what I'm saying is that they didn't tease it before the reveal, whereas Microsoft have obviously teased this information and then thought, whoa, let's just put out a couple of fires here and put a little bit more information out there before they all think the next Xbox is coming. Whereas PlayStation were like, fuck them. just showing the fucking Gran Turismo PlayStation and a middle finger. Bit of a wet story, this one, wasn't it?
The new Elite had been leaked anyway, like we knew about it last year, but it's cool that it's coming. I mean, I didn't buy the first Elite controller, and I'm likely to buy this one, I guess, but...
They're like 120
They're a ridiculous amount of money, aren't they? And why would you buy one of those?
Well, if you've got the money, mate...
I know owns one, so it says they're amazing, they're definitely going to get another one.
Of course they say that, because they bought one, haven't they? They're not
I know.
But if they like it, they like it.
These aren't for people. These aren't for dads with 2 kids, James. Mm-hmm. These are for young people with a lot of money that don't mind spending ridiculous amount of money for shit like this.
So they can play State of Decay, you know, like on their thing. I don't know.
It's not the only game on the Xbox, James.
It is pretty much, but you know, I don't know. I don't understand. But I guess, I mean, this is another thing from Microsoft, though, isn't it? It's like they always focus on this hardware stuff recently because they ain't got any games. But you know, let's should we move on to the
Okay. Sorry, what's your problem with Microsoft all of a sudden?
No, I haven't really got a problem with Microsoft. It's just
you've just flung a left and a right hook, and then going for the uppercut before I stepped in and waved my arms.
No, it's just I was thinking about E3 and like that E3 conference and how like there wasn't much there really and all that kind of thing. And I don't know.
Hang on, we all said that they had an amazing E3 conference. Where's this coming from?
Well, yeah, they did as best as they could with that E3 conference, but there still isn't anything coming yet, and it's still.
I mean, they showed off 50 games.
Yeah, but stuff that's all coming out on other platforms, Matt, and it's not. There's not anything like massive coming, is there? In the next year,
Matt, watch this. Forza Horizon. What are you laughing at?
That's not what you... Okay, how many...
That doesn't count, does it?
No, it doesn't count, because they release one of those like every year.
How about Crackdown 3?
not coming out yet, Matt. When's that coming out?
Well, when you're at the moment, so you're thinking,
Matt,
nothing.
The big problem before we went into E3, the big problem before we went into E3 was people saying all Microsoft have got is Halo, Gears, and Forza. And so you've just mentioned Halo, Gears, and Forza as being the main things.
How about
Where's the new stuff?
Try that on for size.
There you go.
True.
Or anyway, whatever. And new bundles.
I'm just like, why did James up? Like, I don't know what his problem is with Microsoft at the moment, but I love it when they go, they've got no exclusives. What about Forza? That doesn't count.
It doesn't count. It's another one. It's just they do it. They do them every year.
That does count, James. That's an exclusive.
Yeah, that they do every year. It's new, exciting new stuff. There's not so much, but Anyway, Nintendo is suing to shut down some big ROM sites.
So, I mean, it's got to happen, isn't it? Is there any way that you can convince me that this is a bad thing?
It's mental this hasn't happened up to now, frankly. I've always wondered that about emulation. I've never really done it or got into it. But, how is this thing even happening still?
Well, you see, the thing is, I can understand to a degree why people support this because...
Oh.
No, because it's like, there's the accessibility...
Because you're a con man. Because you're a convict.
Ring the police, David.
James is sitting there podcasting with black and white striped top on and a swag bag.
He's got those things. He's got the black things over his eyes. He's gonna. Oh.
No, one of the things that has annoyed me with Nintendo recently
is not finding pieces of 8 on the 7 seas. You fucking
they
pirate.
Stick to the law. Ooh. So they uphold the law. Pathetic.
I haven't got any pirated stuff. I'm not into that. I'm just saying that with the death of the Virtual Console, it's kind of a shame that. That you can't access stuff as easily, and I can understand why people are doing this. But in this case, the part of this lawsuit is that they're explicitly complaining that these are not like fan sites or anything like that, but they're like commercial operations, and so you can totally understand why they're taking them down. Because there is the case for people doing like fan translations and stuff like that of games that are like never going to appear over here. Can't you see how that would be like a reason for people doing this, Dave?
Sorry, you. After that sentence, you should have referred to me as Your Honour.
Yeah,
because it sounds like you're on a fucking court.
Yeah. Exhibit A.
Yeah, unbelievable. Do you know what, Matt? I was really pissed off when I went to get a Mars bar in Tesco's and they didn't have one. So I tried to steal one from Asda and they wouldn't let me.
I'm not talking about that.
It was ridiculous.
Even you should have done a fan remake of that Mars bar.
I know. I should have. I made it out of Twix.
Yeah, it's like I've smashed 14 Star Bars together.
What about Mother 3? It's like it's never going to come out.
Mother 3?
What about Mother 4? It's coming on the Virtual Console, probably.
Yeah.
Exclusive to Xbox.
Yeah. Oh, but that doesn't count.
But either way, they're asking for $100 million in compensation for this, and they also want control over the domain names. So I presume if you go to like www.loveroms.com or whatever, it will then just redirect to Nintendo, which would be quite funny.
So they just want the SEO. Is that what they want? They want the domain authority.
Yeah. So I don't know. Weird. Okay.
Where is that? Where's the lawsuit taking place? In America?
It's in the US. Yeah.
Well, are they US-owned ROM sites then, do you know?
Yeah, well, one of them's already been taken down, which is Love Retro, and the other one, Love ROMs, is apparently still there. I wasn't promoting it there, just to be clear. It's still there, but I'm presuming that's going to go down as well soon. So, yeah.
God, I hope I don't take Love Honey. I'll be livid. I think all the love domains are going to be going, are they, to Nintendo?
I don't know what to say to that, Matt.
Go on, next news story.
Okay, this is the last one. This is for you, Dave. Mario Kart Hot Wheels are coming next year.
Yeah, boy. He's gone off Hot Wheels, though.
Has he?
He's all about Tina Beanie Boos now.
What the hell
he
is
calls
that?
them that. They're called Teeny Beanie Boos, but he calls them Tina Beanie Boos. And they're just these little fucking teddy bear things the size of the palm of your hand. To be fair, they are quite cheap. They're like £1.52 a pop, but they're just fucking stupid. But he carries them around everywhere and he talks to them and that. I'm getting a little bit worried. It's just like, mate, they ain't real. Just stop. He comes like, oh, the Teeny Beanie Boo's angry with you. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck.
So what do they do? They don't do anything.
Nothing.
They're just
soft toys.
They're basically the new beanie toys, whatever they're called. You know, like a few years ago, everyone was obsessed with those like beanie babies. Is that what they're called back in the day?
I don't know. I can't remember.
It's a new thing from that company.
Ago. But yeah.
Yeah, well, from Thai or whatever. I think they're made by that Thai, was it TY?
Yeah, it's the same company. Yeah, it's just they rebranded
it's just like, they're just stupid little fucking things. But they got Paw Patrol ones, and I guarantee they'll have Mario ones by the end of the year. Like, it's that sort of thing.
So is it like the Funko Pops kind of thing, but for really tiny kids?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
Yeah. So I will try and get him back into, because I mean they've already got Mario Kart Hot Wheels. Well, not Mario Kart Hot Wheels. They've already got Mario branded Hot Wheels, but they're weird. It's like there's like a big red van with just like Mario's face plastered on it, and it's like, oh, it's the Super Mario Hot Wheel. And then there's like this red car with a green roof with just like an egg stuck, like a Yoshi egg stuck on the side. It's just. So they've already had a crossover with Mario, but this one, it looks a little bit more exciting. It's not exciting at all. I'm trying to be enthusiastic. I can't.
Yeah, it's not a great story. I mean, there's gonna be like Mario, Bowser, Peach, all that kind of stuff. $4.99. So I don't know what that'll be.
You're taking the fucking right. So Hot Wheels are like £1.50, £2. And they do special edition ones all the time, which are like £4 to £5, and it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
These will be like £4 or £5 or more post Brexit.
The worst fight. And I never thought about this up until like recently. Well, since Harry's been about. You know when you go to a garden centre and they've got cars in those little boxes, and they're like £10. They're just little Matchbox cars in these little cardboard boxes with this film so you could see the car inside. And you look at them, you're like, £10, who the fuck is paying for that? I'll tell you who's paying for that. A kid that's been dragged around a garden centre, is grumpy, sees a car he wants, and will go mental if you don't buy it for him. So then you suddenly find yourself walking up to a counter with it, just thinking, this is £10 of my money just going down the shitter. It's just, honestly, it's so annoying.
Yeah, hang on,
what, £10?
Costs a lot.
Some of them are, yeah.
I wouldn't pay that. That's like
I know, that's it. You've got that.
I'd rather endure the tantrum than that. £10
part of me wishes I was more like you when it comes to parenting, James. I wish I could turn around and just go, no. Like, in the Millwall club shop, when I took it to Millwall last year, right, I wanted to get him a shirt and it was like £20. Instead, he spent £10 on a plastic Millwall bus. And I just went, Harry, another £10, mate. You're getting a Millwall shirt. Like, that's the business. Oh, I want the bus. The bus is shit. Like, it's not even metal. It's fucking made of plastic.
Is the bus for like all those parades for all the trophies you win? You know, like, so you like.
It's very funny. Go on.
Speaking of like Funko Pops, also Fortnite have announced, there's a Fortnite Funko Pop, the first of which could be like the Rex skin. So that thing's going to go gangbusters, isn't it? That thing's going to sell out everywhere, no doubt.
I said the other day, right, there's a film being made. There must be. Somewhere someone's making a Fortnite film.
Absolutely.
Like scribbling around, like, just scribbling like it's an old school cartoon. Like, just like putting all those models into some movie generator thing and just like.
I mean, that is sort of happening. Well, I mean, basically, so, a Fortnite, they had 2 weeks ago, there's this Fortnite Playground mode where basically you go in, you must have heard about it, basically you go in, it's not like, you can go in with your mates, and there's like friendly fire kills, but there's no teams, there's no like, first person, last person to survive wins. You basically go in there, you can build what you want, you can do what you want, and also there's like movie making tools within that. It went away for a couple of weeks because I had to fix some bugs. It's back in this week with the new patch. And so people are already making their own like Fortnite movies using the in-game tools, and some of these that were made, I think they had a competition last week, and the winners are like, they look amazing. They look like incredible little short movies using the Fortnite engine. So it's only a matter of time, surely, before either someone makes a feature-length version of that, or two, a big studio is like chomping on a bit to sign up Fortnite for anything, surely.
And then there'll be a PUBG film, and it won't be as good. It will flop at the box office. I'd watch a Fortnite film. Fuck it, why not? Why not? Okay, is that it?
That is it. That's it for the news.
Well, let's do what we've been playing then, and we should probably start with you, James, because we haven't heard from you for fucking ages.
Yeah, I've actually played quite a few things while I've been away.
Let's do it.
The first thing I want to talk about is The Lion Song, which is... Do either of you know anything about this at all?
No. I know nothing about it.
Okay, so basically it's the kind of game which I usually really enjoy, which is it's a narrative adventure, and it takes place over like 4 chapters. that are self-contained, but then there's also like they're all connected together by sort of the world events and the connections you make between the different characters. And it's set in Austria in the early 20th century, and each of the chapters that you have like follows these different characters. So the point of it is that each of these stories focuses on a kind of a different academic discipline. So you've got like music, painting, maths. I'm losing you already, aren't I, Dave?
Yep. Go on.
Okay. Go on.
So basically what each happens is that each of the characters are trying to overcome like blocks in their thinking. And so to do this, you have conversations with people and you sort of interact with the environment so that they can get through the problem that they're having, so then they can be creative. You know, the creativity comes. Some of the stories land better than others. Like the first story is about this young woman who goes to the mountains to try and overcome this writer's block, and she has conversations with this stranger on a telephone. It's like this guy just randomly calls her number, and then they start to begin to talk with each other, and it helps her to sort of release this composition that she's got going through. And what happens here, and this is what I quite liked about this, is that the conversation seems to be happening by chance, but then the connection that they make with each other impacts this stranger's life as well. And then you see this like in later episodes, like how this sort of plays out. And what is also a bit weird about it, though, is that it's not really kind of choose your own adventure in the way that these games really are, because although you can make decisions as you're playing, it feels different because in this case it really does feel like you're being kind of funneled down a correct path, because when you get to like the end of the chapter, it says you can go back and redo these bits again, you know, to try and like unlock different characters, like different character connections and everything. And I mean, this is fine, but then it also makes it just feel a bit sort of restrictive. And like all the time when after I'd been through the first chapter, I began to become more paranoid about like, am I, you know, unlocking all the things I need to sort of get to really complete the story and to sort of see where it's kind of where it's going. And I mean, the narrative is kind of interesting because it does focus on all these issues of like identity and expectations and like weights of like, you know, people, you know, what they want from you. And there's also, I mean, it takes place, as I said, in Austria, you know, like with the backdrop of the war about to begin. So I mean, the main thing about
how does it bring the war into that?
What do you mean?
Like, how does it bring that sort of
because,
subject into something about writer's blocks and creative?
Well, because there's all these characters they're trying to engage in this sort of creative process in this environment in Austria, which was like famous at this time for, you know, people coming up with, you know, sort of new concepts and new ideas. But then with the backdrop of the fact that some of them are going to have to go away because some of them are going to obviously go and fight. Right, some of them are going to be connected that people are going to go and fight. And so, I mean, the final chapter, it tries to bring all this together and tie it together, but it's all a bit kind of heavy-handed and I didn't think that worked quite so well, but, you know, was still kind of interesting. I mean, it's got a nice art style. I mean, it really reminded me of the old, like, Monkey Island games, but obviously, like, tarted up.
So what, is it like point-and-click stuff?
Yes, yeah, it's exactly like that. I mean, I think you would probably hate it, David, because it's very slow. Like each episode it's like a very slow process of like getting through, and a lot of the dialogue feels a little sort of clunky as well. But I don't know, I still got something from it. Like by the end, when I'd finished it, even though, as I said, the ending was maybe it left me a bit cold, but it was still interesting to see the way that these characters sort of develop their different ideas. So it was quite good. I quite liked it.
So how long was each episode? Only like an hour long, are they?
Sorry.
Yeah, each episode's I'd say about an hour. I mean, I found I didn't play it through like all in one go, and most episodes I didn't finish in one sitting either, because, as I said, the pacing is really slow, and sometimes you're just like, I need to have a break from this now because I can't really see where this is going. But yeah, it's probably, I mean, cumulatively, it's probably about 4 hours long or so, I'd say. Like, although the last chapter is pretty short, but it's good. It was good. It's just, it's really not. It's one of those games I don't feel it's for everybody. You'd have to sort of really want to sort of explore it, I think, to feel something from it.
All right. Well, I mean, it does sound up your street.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's maybe one of those games that's just not for me or whatever. But the thing is, whenever you talk about games like this, we get a bunch of people saying, "Oh yeah, no, that sounds great." So maybe this is more for them. Like, would you recommend it to people? Like,
yeah,
that find the concept interesting?
If they enjoyed, like, I mean, I talked about detention before and things like that. If they enjoyed that and found that interesting, then this, I think they would definitely find interesting. I mean, if you've got any interest in history or, you know, in sort of narrative, then yeah, I think it is enjoyable, and it looks lovely. It really does look very nice.
What did you play on? Sorry,
on the Switch. Yeah, this was on the Switch.
All right, cool.
So this was the Lion's Song. I've just talked about the Lion's Song.
see what that does to the flow, Matt. Can you see my point now?
Hey, look, it's a listener request, not mine.
Yeah, but I know, but we don't have to just do everything the listeners say.
James
They also said they never want... Yeah, I mean, he was taking a piss, though.
Yeah.
Anything else,
Put it
James?
in the show notes. Just put it in the show notes, it's fine. Anyway, the other game I've been playing is Hollow Knight, because, I mean, I talked about this before, but I've got significantly further into it, and it's really opened up, and I'm absolutely loving it, because... It's a significantly bigger undertaking than I was expecting. Like, I don't know why, but when I started this, I just thought it was going to be like a sort of, 10 hours or something like that. But I'm just entering this area called the Deep Nest, and I've been playing for I don't know how long now. Like, I mean, I've been playing it every day. It feels like weeks now, but it's really good. Like, really, really very good.
So
I mean,
is this as Dark Soulsy as everyone seems to... all the tweets I'm seeing from people like Patrick Klepik and people at Waypoint and other people and yourself, like... It seems very Dark Soulsy, or is it more Metroidvania, or is it just a mix of the two?
Well, again, it is totally a mix of those, and the thing that it does, I mean, it reminds me of Dark Souls more than any other game that I've played apart from, like, Dark Souls games, because it really nails the same, like, risk-reward mechanics. You know, like that whole thing of, like, there's always a temptation to just try one more hit, and then you get punished for it. But also
okay, so go back to the basics then. So is this... Because in my head... It was more of an RPG action style thing. Is it? Has it got that, or is it?
Yes.
What's the actual combat involved? Like, what do you do?
Well, I mean, the combat's not. It's not complex. I mean, it's the same as in most like Metroid style games. In that, like, over time you explore the map and you upgrade your abilities so that you can do more things. But the combat is pretty simple. It's just basically you've got like what is called a nail, and you just. It's like, you just use that to attack. It's like a sword, basically.
So the similarities with Dark Souls doesn't rest within the combat itself.
No, not really, no. Although the combat style, to a degree, in the sense that it is... I mean, you can like add new abilities and stuff, and you can also like upgrade your armor and all that kind of thing. But also you have these things called badges that you can like equip, which then will give you sort of like different abilities and stuff as well. So, but then with that you have to like balance it because you only have like a certain number of slots for your character, so you have to like choose what you think is going to be most effective, for like different encounters, which kind of works. But also it's the thing that works. Reminds me the most about this is that you have to be continuously on your game. Like when you're like, even aside from like combat, fighting bosses, even just like going around the general environment, if you kind of panic and start hammering the buttons or whatever, then it ends in failure. Like whatever you're dealing with, you have to show it some degree of respect, because it's not that everything is completely lethal, but you just have to be careful. Like you really have to be careful, otherwise it's going to result in failure. And that's what I've enjoyed the most about it, because it's really just absorbing from that. And I mean, because what happens is when you attack enemies, you then sort of absorb their these like geos, which are like the currency, and it has the same thing of like, if you get killed, then like this sort of apparition like appears from your body, and then you have to go back to that area and like fight yourself. It's really easy, just like a couple of hits, and then you can like reabsorb the money back into you again. And
you fight yourself.
Yeah, it's like an apparition like version of yourself. But then it's a bit like when you go back and you pick up the souls you've dropped. But then if you die before you get the chance to do that, then they're gone. And it's exactly the same. Like it works in exactly the same sort of way.
Okay.
But it really is about the fact that you always have to be careful, and you always have to be like watching what you're doing, and just have to be. But also, I mean, the platforming is up there with like Celeste in places as well. It's really satisfying, especially once you start to like unlock more abilities. Is the thing that's makes it. It's the usual thing with the Metroid game where it's like, you unlock something which then allows you to go to an area that you had seen before, but you couldn't get there, and it feels so satisfying to do that. Like after you've managed it, it's. Yeah, and just the soundtrack is fantastic as well. I mean, I've started listening to it outside the game because it's just so good. This honestly, if it's a shame, I would have had this up as one of my game of the year, like if I could, but you can't because I think it came out last year, like on other platforms. So I can't really. But it's really good. Like honestly, it's really good. It has. I mean, the opening to the game does have a couple of problems. most
I've
notably,
heard like it's really sort of hard to get into initially.
Yes, because the thing is, they don't provide you with a map. Like when you first start, because the whole thing with this kind of game is that you explore a map, and then you can look at the map and sort of think, okay, I'm going to try there. Oh, that looks like somewhere I haven't been. Maybe I can get through there. But they don't provide you with a map to begin with, so you feel like you're just sort of exploring blind. Like you don't know where you're going, where you've been, or anything like that, and it's difficult and it's sort of tough. But then you get a map not that far into it, and then you have to get a compass as well, which will then show you like where you actually are on the map. So because the map's kind of useless if you don't actually know where you are. So that kind of stuff does make it not very friendly when you're starting. But once you've got those, then it really opens up and it becomes much easier. It's to navigate, but it looks fantastic as well. I mean, it runs so well on the Switch. It looks so good.
Is it like that? It's sort of blue chroma key type deal, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not like a super colourful game, but it's just really, it looks good. Like everything is just so well realised. Like the whole world is it feels so, like with Dark Souls, there's it's similar with it's got like all the lore and, everything sort of all fits together properly. I mean, it's kind of unbelievable, like how well put together this game is. It's really good. It's just that it is a really big commitment to play, like bigger than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
But absolutely loving it. Like every day I look forward to playing it because it's really excellent.
Cool. So it certainly sounds Dark Souls in everything you've said and I've heard, sounds it. But how does that work with just putting the Switch on like sleep mode and coming back to it? Does that have a pause? Can you pause or not?
Yeah, you can pause any time.
Okay,
It's not like Dark Souls in that you can't pause or anything, but that doesn't give you any advantage like at all. And it's just so many times, like with so many of the bosses as well, it really is like you have to like learn them as well so that you can beat them, because you just can't go in there just like thinking I'm just going to like button bash or whatever like that. You have to like learn this. There's been so many bosses which have reminded me of Dark Souls because of the fact that it's like, like with that, it's like, sometimes with Dark Souls bosses, after you've finished one, you just think, actually, that wasn't that hard. I just needed to, figure out a way to do it. Yeah. And it was not difficult. This is exactly the same. Like there was one boss I was stuck on. It was like, it was these Mantis Lords, and it took me quite a long time to do because it was all about timing. It was just like, you had to just get the rhythm down. And I did it so many times, and I just thought, I don't know if I'm ever going to get through this. But then suddenly, one day, it just clicked, and I did it, hardly lost any health at all doing it, and I was like, it felt amazing, like, after I'd done that. It was so good, like, so good.
Yeah, I think it's Giant Bomb this week or another podcast this week. That's one of the hosts said that they're playing it, and particularly Giant Bomb, they have this like best game of this year. So when they do this year's game of the year, they do best game of 2017, and you're still playing. And it feels like a lot of people will have that on their list this year. It feels like a lot of people are getting into this now, obviously because it's on Switch and whatnot, and seeing how much of an amazing game it is when they perhaps didn't play it last year. It's definitely on my list to pick up. It looks brilliant.
I mean, just the sound design is so good. Like it's just. Yeah, like the sound effects and everything. It's just so good. And also, it was really cheap as well. I mean, it was only about £12, I think, when I bought it, like on the Switch, and I just can't believe it. Like it's this cheap and this good. It's just one of the best games I played on Switch easily. Like, really, really good.
Cool. All right.
Also, I've been playing The Last of Us.
Yes.
Finally. Oh God, yes.
Which, you see, the thing is, I'm not really sure what to say about this because everyone's already talked about it, obviously, years ago.
Yeah, but it's been a while since people have talked about it.
And, I mean, all I can really say, though, is that I am very much enjoying it now.
Oh, good, because originally you were texting us saying, I don't know if I could do this.
Yeah, I mean, I really feel that the first 2 or 3 hours of it are not great, actually.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, I think Sean basically stopped playing it. What bit did he got to the gymnasium?
He got to the gym for that boss fight, which, after completing the game, you look back at it and think, what was that even doing there?
Yeah, it's so out of place.
I mean, when I played it, I was like, what is this? Like, this is tough, totally, the tone is totally wrong for it. It feels like it just went back into a different game. Like, it was just really odd. And that's why I say, and that's why I said to you, James, when people start playing this game, don't expect it to get good until after you leave Bill, because, it's okay at the start. It's a little bit slow and a bit Mirandering and, a bit, it's sort of, forces some emotional moments that are a little bit too obvious. But then once you leave Bill behind, the game really starts to take off, and the relationship between Ellie and Joel is it starts to build. And then once that builds to a good enough point, characters already know, like from their past, start turning up, and that chucks their relationship into this sort of whirlwind of holy shit, we're in this weird situation now, but we actually care about each other now, and this is all. I don't know. It's the way it works out after that is very impressive. But up until that point, it was a little bit too cliche, a little bit too obvious, and then this weird boss battle that just is totally at odds with the rest of the game, and it's like, what is going on here? But then when you go back to it, it takes off. It takes off.
See, I really felt like you said, up to that sort of point and a bit after that, I was kind of like going through the motions with it. Like, I didn't really feel that engaged with it. But recently I've just escaped through the sewers and I'm into the suburbs at the moment. So do you remember that part?
I don't know.
Okay, because
you've gone into that little. Yeah, I think I do actually. That you've walked out into a road with houses either side, and you're walking up it. Yeah. I know that bit. Yeah.
I just got, and it was at this point that I really began to feel this is as good as a film. To be honest, like the way this is, like the pacing is so good. Like,
it's weird to say, isn't it? It's like it's not. This is good as a film because I've enjoyed like fucking games way more than I have films.
Yeah,
but it's what it does do. As well as a film, is that character connection.
Yeah,
that's definitely missing from a lot of games. Like, we've all been connected to characters, but it is rare to see two characters in a game connect with each other in a realistic way. I mean, sometimes you see that and you get that, but because previously it was just text without voice acting, which does add a lot. But visually, it's not been quite as good. We haven't picked up expressions that you get when you see two friends sort of connecting or talking, or reacting with each other. And for me, Uncharted took a big step forward for that sort of stuff. With The Last of Us, they really nailed it. They really nailed that.
Yeah, you see, this is what I wanted to ask you, because, for me so far, this is the best, like, Naughty Dog game I've played, like, by a long shot. Because I enjoyed, like, Uncharted, like, 1, 2, and 3, but I never felt like they were as good as this, really. Is Uncharted 4 good? Like, I'm not saying is it as good as this, but is it, have they, like, because Uncharted 4 came after this, so...
Yes, Uncharted 4 was very good. It wasn't as good as this. In terms of actually playing it, I think I preferred Uncharted 4 because I like the shooting and everything over the sneaking about. I'm not a stealth fan. And a lot of people would disagree with me there. And, I can't really argue against it. It's just my personal preference. I didn't really love the gameplay side of this. It was fine. Like, I played it and enjoyed it well enough, but it wasn't something that I was really, outside of the game, that I was really into it.
I think, what I was trying to say with the film thing is, it's like, this game feels the most cinematic to me. Do you know what I mean? Of, like, most games that I've ever played. If you sort of mean.
Yeah, but do you see what I'm saying? I think a large part of that is how it's
because
written,
of the relationships,
B, how it looks, and the voice acting. It's those elements that make it feel like the interactions between the two characters is straight from a film. Whereas before we've been used to, hey, Detroit. What are you doing over there? And Detroit is a classic. A classic example of the writing not being up to scratch. Even some of the expressions on the faces, although it was well animated, it didn't nail the nuances you get when there's two human beings talking. It was a game about robots, but there's humans in it. It's this game nailed it. And as I said, I'm not going to spoil the ending for you, but something happens at the end that sums that up completely. But we'll talk about that once you're done.
Yeah, Uncharted 4 is clearly an incredibly polished game, but gameplay-wise, I way prefer this over Uncharted 4.
What did you like about the gameplay?
Well, because I do prefer the stealth style of gameplay rather than just like, here's another 100 dudes to shoot. Obviously, Uncharted 4 looks stunning, you know, the characters, etc. But I've always loved the sort of post-apocalyptic sort of stuff and these sort of tales of the end of the world, be it zombies or viruses, things like The Road and other that sort of stuff. I'm a huge fan of. So it's the right sort of theme for me. Love the characters, love the writing. The gameplay was the right amount of action and stealth. It wasn't just shoot everyone like Uncharted, and yeah, I thought it was stunning. It's definitely one of my all-time favourite games, without a shadow of a doubt.
It's weird because I'm finding it kind of a bit exhausting to play, though, like in places, and I don't mean that in a bad way.
Yeah,
I mean that in a kind of like
heavy.
Yeah, and it's because it does. I mean, a couple of times. I mean, I really rarely get this with games, like actually feeling uncomfortable playing. But there was certain parts of it where I did actually have to like think to myself, "It's just a game. Like you're just playing a game here," because the atmosphere was so sort of like not in like a sort of a horror game way, but in just sort of
it's just really impressive.
Yeah, it's just really oppressive and like uncomfortable, and but it is excellent. I mean, you're right, Matt. It's a very good game, and I'm looking forward to getting back to it.
Yeah, stunning.
I destroyed my thumbs.
The other good thing about this game, James, is that it just gets better. Like, it doesn't get good and stay good. It gets good and gets better. Especially when you get out of the current season, because it's split into 4 seasons, isn't it? If I remember correctly. And the first time you get out of the first season, it's like things really start to pick up. Start to... Yeah,
You've got the remastered edition on PS4, right? Have you got the version with the DLC? Do you know?
Yes.
Okay.
It's got the DLC included.
Yeah, the DLC is excellent as well. But that's obviously
I've got to play that. I've got to play that.
Well, the last game I played...
I thought that was the last game you played. All right, go on.
No, I've got one more. This is the last one, which is... I'd say played. I didn't play it for reasons which I'll explain now. So this is Pure Electric Love, What Do You Want? Eri Kitami. Okay. So this game, I was alerted to this by some posts on Twitter. Some people that tweeted at me. I don't know why.
Did they have an egg as an avatar? Was it an anime character as an avatar?
Don't you have a Google alert for these sort of things anyway, James?
No, don't say that. It's just a horrible thing to say. It's a narrative game, which is this. Can I read to you the description for it on the eShop? It's on the Switch.
Right, it's on the Switch. Go on.
Okay, let me read the description. So it says romance pseudo talk game. That's the thing, and it says in this work, fetish cosplayer Eri Kitami is a welcome Otayuki blog. Please tell her with hyper deadly tension what. So that's what it says on the thing.
Well, and then it says what at the end.
It says what? Yeah, it says what with a question mark. Yeah.
Okay.
Then it says rotation in a good sense. While being healed, make the brain gear turn at super speed with maid, bondage, etc. Gallery image movie! Exclamation mark.
It says, I can't believe they just put that in there. Go on.
Reply to questions from her. Please her. Sometimes a little annoying.
How did this get into the European store?
I don't know. Let me continue. Sometimes a little annoying. Katehike is important for love affair. Mail arrives according to the contents of the conversation. You also have movies attached.
Spoilers? What? They're just saying what happens in the game now.
That's what it says, yeah. You also have movies attached. The end of the conversation will change depending on the choice. Over 150 stories, still images, plus 8 movies. Let's aim at perfection.
So they missed it quite badly.
They missed at the basic description of the game.
So anyway, I was really up for giving this a go, because it was only a few pounds on the UK eShop, but there's just one problem, and it's in Japanese only. So I don't know why this came out on the UK eShop, and it doesn't bode well for their curation process, but you can still download it, and I did. So I thought, okay, what I'll do is I'll try and play it with Google Translate. How with that you can put it over the screen, and
you really wanted to get your rocks off, didn't you? I've never got to the point.
8 movies.
Yeah,
well, see, the thing is, right, is I tried Google Translate, but that was a non-starter. Because when you choose an episode to play, the whole thing was in Japanese, and it just said it produced gems like, okay, so this is the names of the chapters: request to want the, with a question mark, bullying want the, and the final one, which was kind of horrible. I don't know why, which is wet want the.
Oh God, Jesus,
wet want the.
Yeah, and that was it. And so, I mean, I'm going to have to wait for an English translation, obviously, because
he's going to be waiting. He's going to be waiting.
Yeah.
James so I hired a professional translator.
I was on the Eri Kitami subreddit.
I said, can you not look at me while I'm playing this game, because I will have my trousers down. Thank you.
Because I want the wet the question mark.
Yeah. What the? It's like, but just odd. I don't know what they're thinking of. I don't know how this ended up on the eShop.
They were aiming for perfection, mate. They were aiming for perfection. But Nintendo need to do something about this, don't they? I mean, for starters, what this sounds like is an erotic anime game.
Well, it sounds like one of those, like, softcore, just, stupid, like, anime games.
Right, if it is, can we now just have voice chat on the Switch? Like, through the Switch, please? Because, I mean... oh no, we can't do that because we're a family-friendly business. Look at this game that's on our eShop. Like, I mean, come on. It's just
to be fair, when you download it, if you've got parental controls on, it won't open unless you put in the password.
Yeah, fair enough. But, I mean, make that for voice chat as well then. Problem goes away, doesn't it? Oh, just ridiculous. Go on. Is that it?
That's it. That was my last game. £3.50 down the drain though, and I'm glad that I didn't buy all the DLC because there's loads of DLC episodes as well. And for like,
I'm surprised you didn't jump straight in. Buy it all.
I'm going to fill my boots here. I'm getting all of them.
You must have a listener who knows Japanese, and if you do, get in contact because James.
That's a podcast.
James is desperate for a translation. So if you know Japanese, can read it, or know someone, please get in touch.
How about Capone Adam plays through it and makes his own script up and then reads it out to James as he's playing it?
See, you can't. That's the problem. You can't even read it because it's when you start.
That's what I'm saying. He doesn't need to read it, does he? He just makes up what he thinks they're saying, and then he can send.
It's audio only. It's like a telephone call with just the lady speaking.
I don't see that destroys my idea, but
yeah, I guess. They just have to say yes or no at the end of the phone call, but I don't know what happens. So that was it.
Want the wet though. Yeah. Right, Matt, what you got?
Hello. It's been a big week for me this week. I finished Celeste finally. After playing, what did I play last week? Well, I played a bit of Banner Saga. Celeste was also on my list, and I finally played. I've played like another 10 hours for this week. I mean, it's a 10-hour game. My final clock was well over 20. But I say well over 20. It was just over 20 hours. But it's a tough game. But it's also an amazing game, and easily. I mean, at this point, it's probably my game of the year. I just absolutely love it, even though it's rock hard and it's incredibly frustrating, and at times.
What about the quality and the craft of Gears of War, though, Matt?
Well, it does have that, but it's not. It's obviously a different level to God of War. Did you say Gears of War?
God of War. I said God of War. Okay. Didn't I?
Anyway, it does have craft in pretty much every element. I mean, we've spoken about it before, but musically it's amazing. The actual pinpoint accuracy of like the platforming action is amazing. It's ridiculously hard. I mean, probably too hard for me, but I managed to get through it. But towards the end, it was so stressful. It was actually giving me a headache. Like that's how hard I was finding it. But
see, like Matt, like that meme of that dude sitting in school next to that girl.
Yeah, it really was
popping up.
Like, and I'll have to do a bit and then stop and then, but I mean, so the story ramps up. I'm not going to ruin the story, obviously, but the central themes of the story ramp up, and I think it's a really, really satisfying conclusion to that. And then the last few levels are basically like collection of bits, basically bits that you've done across the whole game, but tied together. It's much more difficult, and oh my god, some of the bits are just, I wouldn't say frustrating. I think a little bit like Dark Souls. I knew it was like me making a mistake. I mean, there are some incredibly rock hard bits, and then when I was looking across the level, I'm like, you can't actually expect me to do that. To chain these moves together, to do this, that, and the other. I mean, at some points, it basically feels like you're flying because you're chaining enough of these moves together. It's a platformer, but there are elements in the game where you can do like a double jump, and if you hit this little like gems, you get a third jump, and so on and so forth. And yeah, there's enough of these, and enough of like these moving platforms that you're basically almost floating and flying through these levels towards the end. It's got an amazing flow. It feels so good when you chain these moves together to get through these sections, and many of which towards the end I was thinking I might not be able to do this, but I was gradually sort of getting through it, and it's just an absolutely amazing game. It's just incredible. I mean, you finished it, haven't you, James? Clearly.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have.
Did you do
what
chapter 8?
Happened there, James?
I was on mute because I was drinking something.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have finished it, right?
I have finished it. Yeah. Yeah, of course I have. Ages ago.
Did you do chapter 8?
I don't remember. No. I would have to have a look and see on my PS4.
Yeah, I mean, basically another chapter opens after you finish it, and it was like insanely hard from the first second, so I stopped. I didn't do that, but I finished the story. I think I wasn't sure if I was going to get it done, but I'm so glad I pushed through it 'cause it was incredible. After I did that, I also started playing Super Mario Odyssey again, because when I last left that, I had stopped at the Darker Sides of the Moon challenge.
What's that? Is that the one with the... Which one was that?
That's the 500 Moon area.
Right, okay, yeah. I'm with you.
So, I'm sure everyone listening to this has played this, but if you haven't, basically after you finish it, after you get 500 Moons to Super Mario Odyssey, another map opens up, and it basically comprises of like 10 or 15 little challenge areas, and you've got to do a whole lot. As soon as you die, you basically start back in the beginning. It's one big level with loads of different elements of the game you've played previously chained together. Like I said, if you die, you start all the way back in the beginning. At the time, I thought it was pretty hard, and I kept getting stuck at a fairly early point, but then I just stopped playing it because I thought I'm just can't be asked for this. It's a good game, but playing that was sort of starting to make me hate the game, because I was just struggling so badly at this section. You two both done
it made me love it so much. Yeah. Honestly, I loved every moment of that level. It battered me on a few occasions, but I was just so up for doing it, because, I mean, the movement in that game is second to none, and just ramping that up to the point where you're doing a very hard level it's so satisfying when you do something that you've been struggling with for so long.
Yeah, so I start back that again, because in the last few months I finished like Dark Souls, incredibly hard. I've done Celeste, which I didn't think I was going to do. Didn't think I was going to do Dark Souls either. And then and so I thought I've got to get this done as well, and that's like something else off my list. And I did it today. Eventually, I basically must have put like another 10 plus hours into it in the last week, just struggling it over and over and over and over again. The bit that kept tripping me up, and it's really early on, is the bit where you throw your hat at the scarecrow, and then you have to jump in. But basically, it's like this. You're essentially jumping up the wall, and these blocks come out and push you out if you're not quick enough to do all the wall jumps and stuff. Oh my god, that bit was so fucking frustrating. At one point, I was very close to snapping my Switch in two.
Really? Yeah, honestly, I'm not being a prick or anything, but I found that bit really simple, because all it is a memory game. It's just remembering where...
And I knew exactly what to do, but every now and then, I'll basically jump into the lava rather than jumping side to side. Oh my god, it was the most fucking frustrating.
Were you playing on the handheld mode?
I tried both. I mean, I guess actually, I think a majority of my falls into lava it's probably handheld, but I did both, and I was struggling on both. I was mostly fine, and then I knew the layout, I knew where to jump, when to jump, etc., to get through this little area. But oh my god, every now and then I'm like, okay, left, right. Oh, now it's running. It's jumped to the lava for no fucking. Oh my god, I haven't felt as angry about a game in. I mean, I got probably more angry about this than I did Dark Souls.
I mean, that is weird, because I don't think that happened to me once. I didn't jump towards the screen at any point.
It was constantly happening. It was the most horrific thing of all time.
Are your thumbs all right?
No, probably not. I mean, I played lots of Celeste.
They're not an angle.
And actually, seriously, when I played loads of Celeste on, I basically finished, I think, Friday or Saturday night. And basically, in the morning, I woke up and my thumb could only articulate in two positions.
Oh god, yeah, I've had that. I get that with my fingers.
Yeah, I went quad biking on a holiday, and it's the same sort of thing. Like, basically, my thumb was basically clicking, and I was like, "Wow, have I somehow aggravated that again?" But no, I thought, "Oh no, it must be Celeste." It was in the morning. It's just basically up or down. That's the only way I could click my thumb. It was horrendous. Yeah. Anyway, so that point didn't help. But no, I mean, I got to this wall bit, and it was fucking frustrating. I did get eventually past it, bits here and there, and eventually I did it today. But I basically did it because I looked at some skips, and I got through it that way.
You cheated?
No, right, because I got through the wall bit, and at that point I was like, I'm consistently getting through the wall bit. Brilliant. I've somehow learned not to jump in a fucking lava again, and I can jump through the wall bit. Brilliant. I can go, I can't remember that lizard, go through a lizard bit, fine. Go through the fork bit, fine, and then you're on a bit where you're on the moving platform through the fog, and all those little multicolored twats come and try and get you.
I mean, that's an actual piece of piss, that bit.
Well,
anyway, you stand in the corner and don't fire at the thing that
I
makes
know
the
what
circles,
you're supposed to do, but I was panicking because I was like, I've got past the wall bit. Anyway, the most fucking frustrating thing ever, and it was genuinely making me hate the game, a game I've absolutely loved last year. I was like, I don't know, maybe I should have taken a break, but I was like, I've got to get us through this now. I want to get us done in the same way I've done Celeste and so on and so forth. I want to get it done. Anyway, so I thought, fuck this. And I was watching other people run through it, and I was like, God, it looks so easy when they do it on YouTube. Of course it does easy. It's just me being rubbish, because I'm rubbish. But, and then I think I was reading some of the comments saying like, oh, just do the skip where you get through bits. I was like, what? There's skips. Anyway, so I looked at some skips and I got through.
Yeah, it's cheats, yeah.
Well, yeah, fuck it. I actually do not care. I just wanted to get this off my plate because it was making me hate everything.
Because you haven't done it. You didn't do the peekaboo thing or whatever it is. That
because I love those bits in the game, and maybe I'll go back to it. But oh my god, I was angry before playing it. I was angry after playing it. I was not in a good place with people around. I was like, I'll play it on the train. No, that's making me angry on the train. I'll play it before working in the office. That was making me want to kill people in the office. I'm just so glad it's off my plate. I know I've sort of, I've done what I need to do.
Where I'm sitting, it's still on your plate.
No, it's not.
It's still absolutely on your plate. It's on your plate.
It has sort of made me hate the game a bit.
James, have a look at Matt's plate. Is it on his plate?
It's all over his plate.
It's all over is it on his face?
I really couldn't give less of a shit. It's done for me, and I don't.
Well, don't say it's off your plate. It's on your plate.
It does. Think about it now. It sort of makes me hate the game. That's how much I hate that last bit. It's annoying.
Because you're not very good at it. It's like I see. You hate the game. Don't hate the game. Hate the player, Matt. Because
no, believe me, I've got the hate and the play bit nailed down. I
can't believe how much on the plate.
It's ruined my life. It's ruined my life, that bit. Anyway. At least enough to see that game ever again, because my god, that bit fucked my life off. But it's done.
Imagine James, right? And I'm not going to spell this out because there's people that probably still haven't played this. But that little message and the stuff that Cappy says at the end of the game after you do that, remember how much it gave you a lump in your throat? Like, Matt basically just started, didn't deserve to hear or see any of that.
The thing is, I'd already seen that because someone ruined it on Twitter. And then, honestly, when I was reading the messages, it's really beautiful. But mostly I was like, thank God I don't have to do that shit level again.
It's not a shit level. It's an incredible level.
Oh,
it angered me, and it made me angry, and I don't like feeling angry. It was horrible. So it's done now. Thank God.
It's disgraceful. Like, this is...
Literally just shit. I mean, there's a bit in it where it just says, thank you. Like, the developers going, thank you so much for getting it all the way through. No. It's not the main bit. But there's a bit where it says, thank you, and you've just shit on that. You've shit on it.
Well,
unbelievable.
I don't care. It's done. Thank God. Anyway.
You shit on the stuff that's on your plate. Directly on it. It's still on your plate, and now there's your own shit on it.
Yeah,
Lovely.
I'm very fine with being there. It's in my mind, it's off my plate, and that's the main thing.
In my eyes, it's on your plate. It's well on the plate.
I'm probably going to sell it. I'm that sick of the game.
Good. Get rid of it. You don't deserve to own it. It's because, that's going to remain on your plate for the rest of your life.
No, I'll go back to other games now.
Anything else? Oh, look, there's another plate over there. Ornstein and Smoes on it.
Yeah, if I waited to do this properly, I'd never get them done, and I'd rather they were done than done in the way I've done them.
No, you didn't get them done. Go on. What you got? That's it.
Yeah, I've been playing the hell out of them 2 games.
Good. Well, Harry got a little bit of money from an aunt last week, and I was so sure he was going to want Captain Toad. Like, I was nailed on. I was thinking, right, we're going to get Captain Toad this weekend, but he suddenly just really wanted a Nintendo Labo set. So yeah. Out of nowhere, on Saturday we went and picked up a Labo set for him, and there's just a few things. There's not much you can add to what's already been said. The Joy-Con, the Toy-Cons are incredibly clever, and they are quite fun to build. We've really enjoyed doing it together and stuff. There was a few things because obviously you're staring at the instructions for God knows how long, and your mind wanders. There's 2 things. The first being, right. Can you imagine how hard it is to design music for that? Like, for the building process, the instructions with it. They've got this music on there, and it, like, at first you're kind of like, fucking, that's going to get annoying. Like, for, the hour and a half that I've got going. And then all of a sudden it just disappears. Like, it's still playing, but it's not offensive enough to wind you up.
Yeah, it doesn't bother you, does it? Yeah.
Like, they've totally nailed it. The fact that they've stuck this music on there that can be looped for hours on end, that you will hear for hours on end. And it just fades into the background. And I also think about the people that have to create that music. Like when they get the commission or whatever, and they say, right, okay, what we want is just some monotonous music that isn't going to get annoying. And the bloke goes, yeah, I'll do that. And then he turns around to his mates that he creates the music with and goes, how the fuck is this even possible? But they managed to do it. I mean, the music during the house stuff is incredibly irritating. Right? That lasts about 5 minutes. If that was the music for the building stuff, then I'd have a breakdown. But no, that was the first thing. Second thing, this is a boring thing to say, but if IKEA haven't got an app out already with similar style instructions for building things, then that business needs to close down right now, because this should just be the British standard for flat pack now, because it's just so easy. There's so much text in there, isn't there, James?
It is, yeah.
But you don't read a word of it, because there's literally no reason to read a word of it. You just press play, watch what happens, and copy it. And these things are incredibly complicated to make, but they've made it so simple to put these things together. I mean, it's that alone is a massive achievement.
Didn't you feel like, because they are complicated, like much more than they seem when you first like look at it, and then you're just like, and then once you put it together, you get that. I got like the big sort of satisfaction as well that you get from it, because you're just like, actually, that was really cool, like putting that together. But
the thing is, though, James, it's like, you know, when you're building flat pack. And you'll look at it and you'll go, oh, great. But then you've put like the drawer bit upside down or something. So inside it's all rough and at the bottom it's like shiny. And you're just going, for fuck's sake, how have I not picked that up? There's no chance of doing that in this because it's so well like laid out for you. It's perfectly done. There were a few moments that I struggled. You know, when you've got to roll that cardboard up for the motorbike and then stick it through the middle of the whole thing. I really struggled to get that through. I was like, fuck, I haven't rolled it tight enough, or I've done something. I thought I completely ballsed it, but it just turned out it just needed a little bit of force to go through.
I always hate the bits with the stickers, you know, that you got to stick on.
Here. I panic, but then I got to the point where I was kind of like, especially the very small stickers, where I thought, actually, this has been designed to be made by kids as well, right? So I'm guessing there's some tolerance with that stuff. Like, it doesn't have to be directly in the corner. But so far, no, I've managed to get it close enough for everything to work. So far, I've made the RC car, which I think is total crap. I'm not going to... No one says that, but it's just annoying to use, let alone... I've hidden that already. I've made the bike, which I thought was a little bit disappointing. The mini game is like really slow and not that much fun to use. And Harry is struggling to use it because he's using handlebars like you would normally use handlebars, but that's not how you control the games in this. So you're holding the handlebars, Matt, with a bit of cardboard sticking into your chest to sort of support it. But so Harry's like pushing with his right hand and pulling with his left hand to steer, but that doesn't work. You have to lean with it. So although the handlebars do move left and right, that doesn't control the bike, really. You need to sort of lean left and right, like your whole body, and it's kind of like, oh, that's a bit shit. Like, it's not as intuitive as it should be. It should work the way you think it's going to work. Do you know what I mean?
That's strange.
It's,
but I guess they had to do it that way, I guess.
Did you find that as well, Matt, James, or are we just like fucking it up?
Yeah, no, it's like, I mean, Asher didn't really enjoy that. I mean, he enjoyed like the whole process where we put it all together, but when it came to playing it, he was like, this is a bit uncontrollable and not that great. It's the same with the Mario Kart though. Have you tried it with that? It's not great.
Well, yeah, it obviously works in the same way, right?
Yeah.
Where you've got to lean with it rather than turning.
Yeah, it's not great.
I think he'll get the knack of it after a while and he'll enjoy it. Like, the races are easy enough for him to get into, so it should be fine. But, a little bit disappointed. The house, though, Harry has put God knows how many hours into that house. He's having so much fun with it. He's like the perfect age for it, which I'm really happy with, really, because you do worry that... I mean, I'm sure there are some parents that are a little bit pissed off because... the mini games are a little bit, the ones that I've played so far, are a little bit weaker than maybe I thought they were going to be. But the house is just perfect. It's got loads of little mini games depending on where you slot in which block where. And you get to feed a little animal, which is basically what every fucking iPhone app is these days anyway. So, and he's bang into it. And I was looking, did you see that on the main menu, you can create a block on a string with another block and then connect two of these houses together?
No, I didn't know you could do that.
So Stanley, his cousin, no one knows who he is. Sorry, his cousin has got one as well. So when we go over to see him next, I'm going to make this little blocks thing and then connect them together and see how they get on with that. The problem is his cousin's a little bit older than him, so I'm not sure he's going to be too into it. But yeah, Harry's obsessed. And the other, have you played with the house that much, James?
A little bit, but not that much. I mean, we played with the fishing rod the most, I think.
So is the house something you build? The house is a physical thing you build in wood, in the cardboard, yeah? In
the cardboard, yeah. And then you put the Joy-Con at the top, and you've got a button, you've got a sort of reel, and you've got a key turning style thing, and 3 holes in the house, and you put them in different places, and different stuff happens. So if you just put 1 in one place, something happens. If you put 2, depending on where you've put them, different stuff happens. And if you use all 3, I think it just takes you to some menu which shows you what you've collected and stuff. And there's this little monster you can, fuck around with his house, or you can do these little mini games. And most of the mini games totally fine. The balloon one, James, have you played that?
No.
So you put the key in the bottom and the button in the right-hand side or left-hand side, whatever. And you have to get the monster with a balloon all the way up to the top with these like spikes all over the place. And you only get the big prize, which is like a sweet that changes the colour of the monster, if you get to level 10. Oh my God. About an hour and a half I was trying to do that. Harry was struggling with it, and I was just like, come here, son. I'll sort it out for you. It's fucking ridiculously hard. Way too hard. I only really did it through fluke. You have to kind of tilt the house to sort of move him left and right, and then turn the key to make him go faster through the gaps and stuff. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I don't know what was going on with that. The bowling one was quite fun. The skipping rope one, great. That one, Jesus Christ, I nearly had a breakdown. But the other cool thing is that he's going to hammer these 2 Toy-Cons for a couple of weeks now. We're going away this weekend, so we'll probably take them with us to, muck around with there. But then he's got another 2 to build, in the set. So we're sort of eking it out, taking it slowly.
Yeah, we've still got the piano to put together. That's
really?
The next one. Yeah, that's the next one we've got to do. No, we've not done it yet.
Not even started that yet?
No, because it's a big project, that one.
Yeah, it's like 3 hours, isn't it?
Yeah, so yeah, I haven't got around to it yet.
Yeah,
to be honest, it's a bit. I'll tell you what I found difficult is it's quite difficult to do it with 2 children at the same time.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I was totally thinking that. Even with Harry, there were moments where he wanted to control the instructions, and that was a fucking nightmare, so I had to put a stop to that. But he does just sitting watching me build it. Whereas I imagine your 2 kids are older, there's 2 of them, I bet that just does not happen.
And they're they're both trying to do it as well, and then you're like, okay, you do this one now, and so my son will start doing it, and then it'll just be like, oh, not like that, and then it's like, it's a bit difficult. It's been better when I've done it just one-on-one with either of them, if one of them's been out somewhere or something like that, it's better. But with 2, it's really difficult, to be honest, to do.
I bet. Right, I've got one more question to ask you, right? The first being, did you have moments where it would ask you to pop out 2 discs, and then in the instructions, one of the discs just vanishes in a puff of smoke?
No.
And then ask you to fix the other disc in place? And I'm going, so now I've just got a disc of cardboard that I don't know, no idea why it asked me to pop it out, and why I'm just putting it back into the box. It just literally, it showed 2 of them, and then one of them goes up in a puff of smoke. And you go, okay, so I put this disc there. What am I supposed to do with the other one now? I guess it was saying that's a spare part if you need it.
Yeah, but they do give you spares.
That's the other thing as well, isn't it? When you get to the end of it, and it was don't worry about the other bits. What do you mean, don't worry about the other bits? That's going to do my brain in now for a week. Don't make me put stuff back in the box. It's freaking me out. But yeah, I'm looking forward to doing the other stuff. And right now, Harry has absolutely been loving it. So better than. But he's played the mini games far more than I ever thought he would. So I'm happy with that. And hopefully he'll get the knack of the bike one, and he'll enjoy that a little bit more. I don't know what he's going to be like with a fishing one, but I suppose we'll find out.
The only problem I have with that is that Asher gets a bit overexcited with reeling it in, and you're like,
and it starts because
because he's it's going all over the place. It's yeah, it's a bit difficult.
Yeah. The other game I've been playing is on the Nintendo Switch. I think it came out last week, called Mugsters. It's an indie game. It's made by one dude, right? And the concept's brilliant. The artwork's brilliant. It's just, I'm still quite early on. It's just not fully grabbed me yet. And I'm kind of, I mean, I want to go back to it, but, right, let me explain. It's essentially a puzzle game. Like, it's a puzzle exploration game. You're on this, you start off on this island, and then this island has portals to various different islands. Like, you take them in, like, it's very much, linear. There's island 1, island 2, island 3, and you don't have to go back to the hub every time. The idea is you just escape the island. So you'll walk around sort of an isometric view. The best way of describing it is kind of looks like a flat, Captain Toad, treasure tracker. The camera pulled out a little bit further. There are various different items around each island. There are like explosion barrels. There are walls, breakable walls, and stuff like that. There's loads of vehicles, and the idea is that on each island, the main task is to escape. Right, so you have to work out how you're supposed to get through walls, over scenery, stuff like that, to escape. But it's one of those games where it's got loads of tasks that you have to do as you're playing through. Thankfully, a lot of these tasks save. So, like, if there's like 3 tasks, you do 2 of them and escape, you can go back and just do that third one. But one of the tasks that's always in this game is saving humans, and there's a set number of humans. So you have to decide whether to release them from these capsules that they're in and drag them around these sort of dangerous areas, or leave it to the end and then go and collect them towards the end and then get them into an aeroplane and fly off. As a concept and visually, I think it looks brilliant, right? I love the style and tone of it. Like, it really works. At the moment, there's just not enough going on each island. Now, as I say, I'm probably 8 or 9 levels in. So still relatively early, I think. And to be fair, it's adding stuff all the time. Like, so enemies have been added, these new, sort of dangers have been added, and it seems to constantly chuck something in during every level, something new to think about. So I'm hoping it gets to the point where that starts firing on all cylinders, and all of a sudden it just feels like so much is going on in the island, in each level. At the moment though, it's been a bit of a slow burn, so I'm going to spend another week with it and see if it starts to click. I hope it does, because I like the idea of it, I like the concept, and I like how it looks and how it plays. There's something holding me back at the moment. I'm not 100% sure what it is, but there's something just holding me back, sort of clicking with this, and properly getting into it. I mean, there's also like obvious stuff, like, but when you do save humans, they follow you about everywhere, but they can get stuck on scenery and stuff like that. And then I've had moments where I've had an explosion barrel and I've thrown it at a capsule and it breaks the glass and the human comes out and he runs straight to me and everything's fine. But other times where he's sort of just stood there a bit and then the barrel explodes and blows him up and kills him, and it's kind of like, that wasn't what I was expecting to happen. So it kind of, I think maybe that's it, is that I haven't really understood the rules of what I can do and what I can't do, and that's a little bit frustrating.
So
Hopefully,
is it anything like Pikmin, where you got a massive horde of people and that's what's helping you to get through these puzzles and stuff?
I mean, no. The humans don't really help you at all. They just follow you straight away. Like, I've not. I mean, this might be later in the game that happens, but for now, they're just following me around. They're not actually helping me do anything. So they don't serve any purpose at all. Not other than being items that you sort of collect and take to an endpoint. And obviously you got to keep them out of danger. So later on, there are monsters that chase after you, which at first you kind of think, this is weird, because the combat is just a punch button and the monsters just take one punch to die. Like, it's not a challenge to fight these monsters, so it feels like really odd. But then you start to realise, no, hold on, those monsters aren't for you. They're only going for me there because I'm the only one about. Like, obviously the idea is that the monsters are there to try and kill the humans that you're trying to save. So I started to understand the concept behind why these enemies were there. And yeah, it's strange, man. I thought this was going to click straight away. It hasn't, but I've not given up hope. There's enough there to keep me keep me playing for another week at the very least. So I'm gonna crack on with it, and then I'll get back to it. I'll talk about it again next week.
I mean, it certainly looks great. I love the style.
Yeah, I'm playing on the Switch, by the way, and it feels perfect in handheld mode. It feels great to play on handheld mode.
What's the name of the game again, Dave?
Mugsters. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I also spoke about Nintendo Labo today, James.
Okay.
All right?
Just so we're clear. Okay.
Write that down. Actually, Matt, you said you were going to do that every time, and you didn't do it once.
I mentioned Celeste and Super Mario Odyssey enough. I think they know.
Okay. All right. We'll find out next week, won't we? We'll find out next week. That's what we've been playing this week. Should we get onto your emails, your tweets?
Yeah. Am I doing this then? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, sorry. I was so busy at work today. I hadn't even been checking the group chat or anything. I thought that must have been decided.
I just assumed because, this job always gets palmed off on me because it's the worst.
Good boy, good boy. Good boy.
What do you mean by that?
Good boy. Go on.
Hi guys, question for the show. Imagine this scenario. Your wife believes only more than console. I think it means more than one. See, again, this is why I hate doing this because I have to edit on the fly. Your wife believes only more than one console is just wasteful duplication. You attempt to make spurious arguments like Farley about Sonos and Brexit, but it doesn't wash. What was Sonos? I don't remember talking about anything about that.
No, anyway. No, weren't you talking about... That was a Nintendo Switch and Brexit, right?
Yeah.
But you have talked about Sonos. Weren't you trying to buy one at some... And you said you used that same excuse for the Switch that you did when you wanted to buy Sonos. Sonos or whatever. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you did.
I was never interested by one of those.
I'm pretty sure you did.
Anyway, you've got to flog the lot and stick with only one console. Which one do you pick and why? And that's from Thomas.
You got to flog the lot and stick with one. Matt, you'd go with the Xbox One X, right?
I'd definitely go with that.
I mean,
all over it.
No, I'll go PS4 because it's exclusives.
Well,
no, because PS4 I still play 4K gaming, for 4K gaming, and I've got exclusives as well. So, but then Switch, I mean, I guess I go PS4.
I mean, if
PS4 or Switch, like Xbox wouldn't get a shout at all.
So it's weird you say that, right? Because I mean, if I wasn't including Harry's feelings in this, like, because obviously it would be the Switch. The real answer is the Switch, not because of me, but because of Harry, right? But I think if it was just down to me, then it would be the Xbox, because all of the people that I play with regularly, my favourite times is when our group are all just hammering a game, like every night, just hammering a game, and they all play on Xbox. So, I mean, it's out of my hands. I've got to get an Xbox. That's what I'd have to do. I wouldn't be happy about it.
All those amazing exclusives.
I would, but then I'd also be missing out on some of my favourite bits of gaming, which is gaming with my mates. So what can I do? Like, I mean, I'd much rather miss out on the exclusives than not be part of that sort of. You know what it's like, Matt. Like in launch week or whatever, where we play it every night. It's so much fun. Like, it's so good. Every like all through the day, you're getting texts about how we're going to be playing it till 4 a.m. We never do, but that's what everyone says.
That's beside the point, yeah.
Yeah, and I've been playing Rocket League again with that lot, and it's so much better than just playing them with Todd. So
we get them a lot into Fortnite.
No, we played it last night.
Oh, did you play it last night in the end?
Yeah. Me, Chet, Nick, and Jay.
What did they think?
It didn't go too well. It did not go too well. But, John wants to play it. I want to play it. So, yeah, let's try that. I reckon we should just do it for one season, like where we buy a season pass and just absolutely hammer it.
A battle pass.
That's the one.
Yeah, I mean, I played a bit tonight, actually. It's still obviously amazing. It looks so good as well. It looks so good.
Do you think? Because if there's one thing I don't like about it, it's the art style.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
I mean more the fact that, like, on the X, you can do like up to 1440p. So that's basically 2K. So it looks... I've got it upstairs in the office, not downstairs on the TV. And also, they've really tightened up the graphics, I think, this year. In the new season, it's much smarter.
I just think, it's just something about the art style that I don't like with that game. It doesn't... I don't know.
Yeah, now I've got Celeste and Mario and other things off my plate. I guess I got the Balance Saga 2 to keep going through. I'm going to get back into Fortnite, I think. I've missed it.
James, what's your answer?
Again, for me, it's tough as well, as you said, because it would have to be the Switch because of like family stuff, because my son would just be really upset if we didn't have that anymore. But I can't play like Yakuza on the Switch, so probably the PS4. I'm not sure.
There we go then. Next question.
Okay, hi all. Have you ever had a choice to make in a video game that you fretted over for days or weeks or looked at a guide to see what the results would be? I finished Banner Saga a few weeks ago but haven't started the second because I can't decide whether or not to stick with the choice I made at the end. I love the game and eager to get it to the second, but can't choose considering the consequences for the next game or character. The game has a list of auto-saves from key moments, so it's easy to go back and change your decision, which is handy, but not the best thing for sticking by your choices. I love the show. Great to see Sean back. He's not. Hope you can still get John on again as a guest sometime, hopefully.
I think he will, yeah. John will come back on as a guest at some point. Yeah, no, I have, and I mean, I've said this since, the Walking Dead games. I don't go back and change my decisions because I'm very much, like, what's the worst that can happen? You get a bad ending, right? That's the worst thing that can happen. But surely the decisions you've made, that's the whole point in playing these games. That if you get a bad decision, like if you get a bad ending, that's the ending that story and your choices deserved. And sometimes a bad ending is like imagine a world where every film had a good ending. Like it's just not, it don't really work, does it?
Yeah. And that is what I don't like really about the whole Detroit thing. With like all the multiple decisions and everything, and like, you can go back and you can get all the different endings. It's like, for me, it's always been like, I want to know what my story's going to be.
Yeah, totally.
And it's like doing it again would feel like that's kind of negating the experience I had. I've
always been really comfortable with it. Just like telling myself, look, this is not every ending has to be a good ending. And maybe that's not what he's talking about. What he's talking about is regretting a decision. But then if you've made that decision in that moment, like, I've got to stick with it. I'm not one of these people that's like, no, I'm going to reload a save and do something different. Like, I can't do that because I've made that decision in that moment. That's the point. And so that's why I stick with it. Yeah. There's no way I would jump ahead or look at a guide to see what the right decision is. It's just not, that takes the whole point out for me. Like, I don't understand why anyone would play it like that, but
I've always been the same. Like Walking Dead games, and also Banner Saga as well. More recently, it's wanky to say, but that's my story, and whatever happens. I'd rather just own that than go through and maybe I should change. Famously, I only had Ben at the end of The Walking Dead season 1.
That was funny. Actually, if there was ever a case for looking ahead and making sure you don't end up with a certain ending, that's probably it, right?
Definitely, I might look back and see what could have been, but I'll never look ahead because then surely that's just mad spoilers of what's going to happen. So, totally. I don't remember ever actually looking back and say, what would have happened if I chose the other way. That's my decision, and I'm not going to reload the save because that isn't favourable. I'd rather just see what happens, really. But the decision at the end of the Banner Saga is massive. Huge. I didn't spend weeks on it. I spent just minutes, of course, but yeah, I've never spent like days or weeks on any decision on this. Probably like 15 minutes most. Really. Nothing I would say, I'm going to stop playing now and have a real think. I tend to start making my decision there and then. But the one at the end of the Banner Saga is massive, and it's a great end to the first game. Also, another point that I think is really important.
I love it so much sitting down with a mate that's played the game and said, what did you do? And then what happened after that? Like,
it's so fun, isn't it?
Yeah, I instantly don't go and watch YouTube and like see what would have happened. I'd much rather just hear it from James's perspective. Like, what happened? What happened when you did this? Although saying that, I did do that for Detroit. So maybe, I've as I was playing it, I was watching James's playthrough, but it wasn't as good. It would have been better if we had that conversation. So maybe I regret that to some extent. All right, okay.
Hello, lads. I just wanted to take a minute to say thanks. I know there was a gushing email last week, and it makes you all feel a bit funny, so I'll try to avoid echoing that too much. A couple of weeks ago, I broke my leg at work. Whilst this is far from ideal with the summer coming up, I took it as a good opportunity to play some games during the long, boring days. I finished Bioshock Remastered, having never played it the first time round. Great game, by the way. And then picked up some reduced games based solely on your recommendations. Onrush and Yakuza 0. These games both scratch very different itches and have kept me relatively sane, particularly in the first week when everything hurts and every minor task is a pain. James was also good enough to chat with me over Twitter on how to approach Yakuza, and it really helped.
God, but that's a rarity as well. Bloody hell, you got him a talk. In fact, actually, that's probably the only way you talk to any of the listeners, right? If they go, what do you think of Yakuza, James? You're all over that shit.
That's not fair.
Have you got any Japanese porn games to recommend?
That is
my list.
Outrageous. Outrageous. Long story short, both games are bangers, so thanks for doing what you do. Can Sean and Matt recommend any housebound games to pass the time around the sub £20 mark? PS4 and I like pretty much all games. That's from Stuart. So Matt, what have you got?
I mean, I would say The Witness, if you haven't played that. Inside. Those are the two games I thought about instantly. When you thought about some housebound games to pass the time, those are brilliant. But there's just so many. But those are the first two that came to mind for sure.
God, yeah, I can't think of better ones than that. I mean, what was on the list of Game of the Year? Like, I mean, I suppose Wolfenstein 2 is worth playing if you're into that sort of thing. Doom.
I think there's a massive PS4 sale at the moment on the PlayStation Store, and I think one of the Wolfenstein games is in that sale as well.
See, it's hard to know what to recommend without knowing what he's played. But if you've not played Doom, that's worth. You get that for next to nothing now. The one that came out, what was that 2 years ago? Now it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Good. Thanks. What happened there?
Nothing. A car was going past. I was waiting for it to stop, so I could.
All right. Doom. Yeah. I mean, that is just an absolute banger of a game. And perfect for that sort of thing. Short bursts of proper cool arcade shooting action. Freeze on the phone is a good game. I don't know if you've heard of that. That's good. It's a little puzzle game, little numbers and that. James.
I've played Yakuza Kiwami. There you go.
There we go. Play that one. Play more Yakuza.
Yeah.
I can't wait for Shenmue. That's not far away now, is it?
I don't care.
End of August. Yes, you do, James.
I don't.
Yes,
I ain't going to be watching it. I'm not. I refuse to discuss it.
You're going to be watching it, and you know it.
There's no way I'm going to do that. It's fine. You can
James,
just do what you want.
You are absolutely 120% going to log on at some point to see what's going on. There's no way you can keep away from that.
Easy I can. It's just, I know what you're going to say. Yeah. I know what you're going to say.
That's true. Easy you can, yeah. But
easy you can.
What am I going to say?
Easy you can for you to say. James, have you seen today's Shenmue news? Obviously, they've hit the £7 million Kickstarter stretch goal thanks to Slacker backers, and there's also a shot of gameplay.
There's a single screenshot.
Does it look shit?
It looks alright.
Looks good. It's just one screenshot. You can't really say a lot, but now apparently there's some advanced battle mode or advanced battle system because they've hit the £7 million.
There's a battle royale mode involved. James, what am I going to say about it?
I don't know. I know you're going to slag it off, so it's
very easy to slag off.
It'll be so easy for you to slag off because it's aged really badly. So obviously you're going to slag it off.
Well, it's a bad game then, isn't it? All right, go on.
Yeah. I'm sure you've all gone over it already, but Capone, I don't know whether he's always that high or whether he's like that generally or whether he adopts a persona for podcasting. Either or great podding as always. Question regarding something I don't think you've ever spoken about on the pod. I could be wrong though. World of Warcraft has been around for years, and with the new expansion Battle for Azeroth around the corner, I wondered if any of you gents have ventured into the MMO of all MMOs. Is there something keeping you away? Is it the sheer size of it a little scary? Does the pricing put you off? What would it take for you to get it installed? Maybe an idea for Matt streaming again. That's from James Unwin. But yeah,
well, I mean, no,
nothing would make me play that game.
My PC doesn't play. It isn't good enough for games, so I'll certainly not be doing. There was big news this week, I guess, that they've announced that every previous expansion, apart from the forthcoming one, is now free and part of the subscription, and the only thing they go charge for is the most recent one that's coming soon. It's pretty big, isn't it?
Yeah.
I guess they've got to do something.
I mean, this is just not my type of game, is it?
It's not mine either. I don't care about MMOs. I've never really been able to get into them.
There's nothing, don't get offended by that. It's just, we've all got areas of gaming that we're not into. And that's just one of mine. It's weird that none of us are.
Well, when I was young and I had a PC, I think that was just before WoW came out, and then I sort of stopped PC gaming, but in the time since, people said, Matt, just promise me you'll never play WoW, because I guess I assumed I would just be obsessed with it and never come out of my house.
See,
but,
that's what I've always worried about.
I've never tried an MMO.
It's that idea that, I like playing lots of different games, and I've known so many people that end up playing those games and then just never play anything else, and that scares me. I don't like the idea of that.
But I was like that with Destiny 1, to be fair. There was no time for anything else.
You were pretty bad
It was Destiny
with that,
or nothing.
Doesn't it? I'd imagine Sean would have been into it, because, he was...
I don't think he was,
into Warframe, yeah?
But I don't think he got into Warcraft. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he said in the past that he never really got into it. I played the trial at one point, very early on, and I was just like, nah, this ain't for me. It's just not for me. But, whatever. If you're playing it and you're enjoying it, then all power to you. That's probably the most patronising thing I've ever said. Go on.
Yeah.
You accidentally raise enough t-shirt money to meet a joke Kickstarter stretch goal and find yourselves at EGX having to perform as a Take That tribute. Who's who?
Well,
that's from Adam.
I'm Barlow, because I'm the most talented. Then you've got, who's the nerdiest one?
I don't know who they all are. I've no idea.
Who's the grumpy one?
Most of them have left now. It's just Mark, Gary, and hang on, I know this one. Surely Robbie, Sean's Robbie, because he's had a successful solo career.
Never as good as the original, that he sprouted from, which, whatever he says, it's not that Dark Zero podcast he had. What was it? I can't even remember the name of it, but I think it was Dark Zero actually.
It was Dark Zero.
It was all about Joypod when he joined them. Then it took off. I would say James he's not. What was his name? Mark Orange.
No, Jason Orange and Mark Owen.
Mark Owen.
Get with it, Jesus.
See, I guess you're Mark Owen then.
I do also have a dolphin tattoo, so that works.
Sorted. And you're Jason Orange, but I can't make a connection, James.
I don't know.
You can break dance, can't you? Oh no, I think that's Howard can break dance. Jason can play guitar.
He is pretty good at break dances. Is our James Farley?
Also,
come to
Jason
EGX and see it live.
Was seeing Lulu for a point. So, do you fancy Lulu, James?
Not particularly.
Then you're Howard.
I just imagine him on a date with Lulu or whatever. Oh, do you want to go on a second date? Not particularly.
No thanks. But keep it wet. The question mark?
I think that was what it was there. Go on.
Yeah.
Okay, tweets now. If you want to tweet us, it's at Computer Game Pod on Twitter. Rikaku Police, Tom Doughty has said, Phil Spencer, Reggie and Sean, Sean Layden, sleep with, marry or kill.
Sleep with, marry or kill?
No, marry or kill.
Wait, say the names again.
Phil Spencer, Reggie, and Sean, collaboration with third-party partners, Layden.
Oh, right. Okay.
Obvious,
Layden's being killed.
Yeah, definitely, yes. That's nailed on. Reggie marry, probably, because he seems like a nice fucking material.
Totally.
And I guess you have to go, could I sleep with Phil Spencer?
Yeah, you would though, wouldn't you? Out of the three of them.
Really?
As long as he takes his t-shirts off. Oh, yeah, out of three, definitely.
Keep him on. God. You'd go for the wild time. He's the fun one. Then you've got the serious, steady relationship guy, right,
Do you
Reggie?
think he's the fun one? I don't know if he is the fun one. I reckon he's all business.
Look who he's up against.
Yeah. Sure.
So who's more fun out of the three of them?
Reggie's had those dolls made of him and
No
stuff.
way. You're saying Reggie's more fun?
I don't know. I think he looks pretty. He's all right. It's pretty fun. My body is ready,
etc. Definitely marriage
So
material.
you're gonna. What's yours then, James?
I don't know because I hate these sort of questions. It's stupid.
Well, people answer them.
Well, the listeners are, so answer it.
All right. It's what you said. There you go.
Brilliant. So you argued against our answer and then picked it anyway.
Okay,
Great.
just switch Phil Spencer with Reggie. I agree with you on Sean Layden.
So you want to fuck Reggie? So you want to fuck the shit out of Reggie, okay?
Fancy Reggie. Oh, God.
Grab hold of Reggie's fucking cappy hat and fucking stick your dick in it. I get it. All right, chill out.
That was a bit much, Dave.
All right, go on.
A bit far. Okay, Lou Belfort says, when David wakes up dripping wet all over from sleeping under the covers, why exactly does he find it preferable to sleeping on top of them?
Well, because I said I like it.
Why do you like being hot? I don't understand that.
It's just, it really makes me feel sick.
Although I had a bit of a situation where I got too hot today. It was football, it was five-a-side, and 4 people dropped out. So we had 6 players on a five-a-side football pitch in the hottest day of the year. And we lasted 45 minutes instead of the full hour. And I went all lightheaded at the end and I pissed myself a little bit. There's no joke there, that's what happened. Just a little bit, it was a little patch on my pants, but I have no idea why that happened other than maybe I was just about to pass out.
Show? Why did you reveal that?
I'll just tell you what happened.
Because everything goes on the show.
It is weird though, isn't it? Like, I mean, I think I was about to pass out and maybe that's why it happened. It was only a little patch, it didn't go through the shorts, but it was like, I was kind of like, whoop, those little bits come out then. I think I was genuinely about to pass out. So that's why that happened.
Weird.
But it was weird. That's never happened before.
So your body said, look, if I pass out or pee myself, I'll do a little bit of pee.
Just let out a little bit of pee out. And then I stay conscious.
A little bit of pee out.
Yeah, definitely. I was battered. Like, honestly, all the way home, full aircon, got in the shower, like, didn't even turn the hot tap on. It was just pure ice cold water coming out of that. It was ridiculous. It was like, it landed on my head. Yeah, that was stupid, really. We should have just not played football.
Yeah, that was silly.
Yeah. I don't know if you've just seen, but there's some breaking news.
Hello,
oh my God,
James the newsman. He's bringing it.
Yeah, well, the trouble is I don't know all the details yet.
It's best be worth it.
This is, Mr. Shy Smile, Shy from the Discord has just messaged at me
just
and Matt.
Tell us, James.
What is this?
Well, apparently there's a new thing. This is Microsoft is working on a new Xbox streaming service called Scarlet Cloud, and that's the thing. But I haven't watched the video
the thing
yet,
that they announced at the E3. Oh, right, gotcha. Fucking hell, go on. The thing that they announced at E3.
It's called Scarlet Cloud because Scarlet's the code name for the new Xbox console.
All right.
Okay. Well, there's more details on a video. But yeah.
Well, watch the video quickly and tell us.
I'm not. It's 5 minutes long. I don't want to do. I want to go to bed.
We'll wait. Dave and I will wait.
No, I'm not doing that. If anyone's interested, you'll know about it by now anyway, so it's fine.
He's got a point. He's got us there. Yeah. They will already know about it.
Well, I look forward to talking about it on the next week's show.
Or not.
Next question.
That's it. All done.
Fucking hell. Okay, social bit.
What's
Follow
that?
us on Twitter at
why are you
Computer
saying
Game
that for, Matt?
Just a bit of a wet fart at the end, wasn't it?
No, it's fine. It was a good question.
What was a good question?
The question was fine, but don't worry about it. Okay, right. We're playing at EGX. We're doing EGX on Saturday, the 22nd of September. Get your tickets now because I think they're selling like hotcakes.
If we fill the room, James has got a break dance.
No,
I've said it. I've said it now, James. I've said it now. If you don't do it, it's false advertising. It's not going to happen. It's false advertising. It's false advertising if you don't do it. So you'll get sued. If we don't sell out the room, if the room isn't packed out, like every seat's filled, like if that happens, James is going to do a break dance in front of everyone.
No.
Yes. Anyway, basically, go to EGX.net and you can get tickets for it. The early bird tickets, early door tickets, whatever they're called, they're sold out.
You don't need them. You don't need them, mate. Just go.
Yeah, all you need is a day ticket or afternoon ticket. We're on 5 till 7. Get a ticket and then watch us do whatever we're doing on stage. Whatever. I'm not sure what we're doing yet, but just watch us do what we do on stage.
Probably see you down the pub afterwards.
Yeah, there'll probably be a meet afterwards.
Lovely.
Who knows? But yeah, anyway, get your tickets. We're playing Saturday, 22nd September. Get your tickets. We'll see you there. The show is obviously on every podcast service known to man. Of course, we've got a Discord. Go to bit.ly/TCGS Discord for that. And we love your Apple Podcast reviews because they help us go up the charts. So, yeah, leave us a review if you feel a need, if you've got time. If you haven't done so already, it takes very little time to do it. And that's about it.
And listen, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for living it. We will be back next week, and I will say it again, hopefully with a full crew. We'll see you next week. Have a lovely time with your lives until that point. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Yeah, bye.